Krause, and welcome to Lowell Park. I'm here with fellow writer Ben Gainsborough. Cotuit welcomes the Falmouth Commodores to Lowell Park today on July 4th. They traveled to Falmouth yesterday, actually, and here's Ben with a bit of a recap on that one.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, Cotuit had a 2-game win streak going into that game. It's not substantial, but still 2 wins on the road. Never easy to do with the big league. Falmouth looked comfortable in their home stadium yesterday, though. They beat Cotuit pretty handily, 6-1. And Cotuit only had 3 hits in that game, with only one of them going for an extra base hit. And I've been noting it this whole season. 3 is the key number for Cotuit. When they have 3 or more extra base hits, they're 8-0-1. When they have 2 or less, they're 1-8. So you see that disparity in their records there. That one extra base hit came from Joey Loperfido, who coming into the game 2 days ago was 1 for 12 on the season, and since then he's been 4 for 7 with 2 extra base hits. So he's starting to hit his stride, and that's good to see. Getting the start yesterday for Cotuit was Cole Ramage of Arkansas. It was the first time we've seen him. It was the first time he's thrown in a month, and he was pretty solid last night. Will, 3 innings, only allowing 1 run, striking out 2. And the other key note from yesterday's game, though it wasn't a full performance, was Nick Gonzales reached base in his last at-bat. That makes it 19 straight games he's reached base for the Cotuit Kettleers. If that number sounds familiar, it's because we played 19. So they've been on base every single game so far this season. Even more impressively, if you look back at his numbers for New Mexico State this past season, he reached base every single game in that season as well. So it's 74 straight games he's been on base. It's almost like video game numbers, and I really hope that they don't jinx it.
Okay, Coach, obviously not the result you wanted today, but what were some of the observations you had on the game, some things that you were pleased with, some things that you think you can make some adjustments on?
Oh, excuse me. Well, no, we'll probably first thing go to adjustments is that, again, we took too many pitches tonight. They threw some excellent pitching at us, but we took too many pitches and we weren't swinging. Again tonight, and I'm trying to get the guys to realize that batting average with 2 strikes is usually around 170. It's not very good, and we got ourselves in too many 2-strike counts. From the pitching side, we were trying to go 3-3-3. I thought Cole did a really good job in his first outing. I let him go probably 10 pitches too far, and Justice hadn't been out there in a while, and I got him in a little bit of a jam. But again, we learned some things about Cole, Justice, Farrell. We learned some things, and I think a couple of them made some progress trying to teach them direction to the plate. So, you learn from these games, and hopefully they will improve, because as we play every day here the next 2 or 3 weeks, I mean every day, no days off, we've got to have 6 starters. And with Joe leaving to potentially sign a pro contract, not as of yet, and I can't say who and so forth. Don't want to lose his NCAA eligibility. He's got to do some things. That's taking our 5th starter away. So now we've got to replace our 5th starter and find a 6th starter. And so those are some of the challenges ahead of us. But this is a great group of guys. They've played extremely well. I'm happy with them. And when you play every day, you're going to have one of these games every once in a while. We had one a week ago at Orleans, and now we've had another one. And so, if we can get through every week with just one kind of poor game, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, so Falmouth comes in with a 7-7-1 record. The Falmouth Commodores, as Ben said, beat Cotuit last night. They've won 2 in a row. They have a fairly statistical advantage in terms of batting average over Cotuit. They're batting .256 as a team. That's 3rd best in the Cape Cod Baseball League, whereas Cotuit has a .236 batting average. As a team, Cotuit has a better ERA, 4.14 ERA, compared to Falmouth's 4.34 ERA, which is 2nd worst in the Cape League. Falmouth is going to have Samuel Strickland take the mound tonight, making his 3rd appearance for the Commodores. Samuel Strickland out of Samford University. For Cotuit, it will be Sean Sullivan making his home debut. He started 3 games already, but Sean Sullivan out of Cal Berkeley will make his first appearance here at Lowell Park. He's got a 4 ERA on the season. He's had some ups and downs, but a bit better than Strickland, who's been at 4.5 ERA. So it should be an interesting game. We'll see what happens today.
Welcome to Lowell Park on the 4th of July. Thank you for spending America's 243rd birthday with us, Aram Layton, alongside my partner, Sam Niederman. It's been a wild one today, Sam. We started at 9:30 here at Lowell Park. We were part of the parade, of course, that took place around 11. There was a hitting competition. There were floats for the parade. We had kids face painting everywhere. We had bounce houses. It was an amazing day, Sam. This is your second 4th of July. How did you enjoy it today? I can tell you I did.
My gosh, man, I'm so glad that you got to experience it, and for this entire community to come out here and just celebrate America's birthday in the community and village of Cotuit and come together and have some great fun. It was awesome to see. It's an Americana event, as Coach Mike Roberts likes to describe it, and it just never ceases to surprise. I've already seen it once before, but you forget about it after a year's time, and we walk down Main Street and come up School Street, and it just hits you when you come around the corner from the Kettle Ho and get back down on Main past Coach Roberts' cottage. Everybody lined up along the streets, all the red, white, and blue decked all over Main, and just the atmosphere and the Americana vibe, the big-time floats, the antique cars, it just hits you. And the transformation of Cotuit on 4th of July is something special. It might be the most patriotic thing I've ever seen. So awesome, and what a great prelude before today's game.
And anything flies in that parade. We saw everything from pirates to bagpipes and just about everything in between. As for today's game, of course, it'll be a matchup between Cotuit and Falmouth. Cotuit played Falmouth yesterday at Gov Fuller Field. They dropped that game 6-1. Of course, it was a rough one for the bullpen of Cotuit. They walked 7 batters, 8 free passes out of the bullpen after a pretty good start from Cole Ramage. He went 3+. He did have the 2 runners he left on base that ended up scoring when he came out of the ball game, but for the most part, a really good debut from Cole Ramage.
Yeah, he was all right and began at an innocent start, but the problem for Cotuit was throwing way more balls than strikes, and it amounted in all those walks, 7 walks and 1 hit by pitch, and that cost the Kettleers the game. Falmouth only scored 2 of their 6 runs on base hits. They had 10 hits in total, but so many walks given out left and right. It was a festival of walks, and something that Mike Roberts really wants his team to adjust heading into this game, and they need to if they want to get a win.
And Falmouth, an already good offense. They're 3rd in the league in batting average at .256, and Cotuit didn't make them earn any of their runs. Actually, they only earned 2 of them. They had scored 2 runs on singles. The other 4 were on pass balls, walks, or errors, so a lot of miscues from the Cotuit defense that needs to make a good Falmouth offense earn those runs. Sean Sullivan will try and turn things around for the Cotuit team, who struggled, like you mentioned and like we both mentioned, with the pitching. He's making his 4th appearance of the year, and Sean Sullivan was really good out of the gate. He struggled in his last start. What can you expect from Sean Sullivan from Cal Berkeley?
You're right. He's come back down to earth after a dazzling start at Hyannis in game number 3 on the season, but the last couple of outings have been all right. 2 innings at Harwich in the weather delay game, and then 3 innings giving up 5 runs at Orleans back last Friday. He was on the hook for the loss in that decision. Started off pretty good in that game, just didn't finish. And the problem with him has just been getting hit around a little bit. He gave up 4 hits in that start, only walked 1 batter. This is a guy that's not going to fall behind too much, which is an encouraging sign. It's what the Kettleers need today. He's just got to trust his stuff and trust his defense behind him, and I think he's able to get back on track.
And pitching wasn't the only issue for the Kettleers at Falmouth. Of course, they couldn't really hit the ball that well either. They had just the 1 extra base hit. It was a 2nd-inning home run from Joey Loperfido. Other than that, that was their only extra base hit of the ball game, so they didn't really do it on either side of the field, something Cotuit usually needs to do, as they're one of the better offenses in terms of runs scored, and of course they lead the league in home runs, but also lead the league in strikeouts, and trying to string together a day like we saw just 2 games ago, where they strung together 14 hits. It feels like a lifetime ago after they struggled so badly in the last game against Falmouth.
Yeah, this offense, you never know what you're going to get with them, but I think the one thing Mike Roberts wants to see out of his team is consistency. And you'll hear from him in our pregame spot, talk about that a little bit towards the end. But I think what he means by that is being there for every pitch and locking in with an aggressive approach. When this team swings aggressively at the plate, you see more of the singles, and you see that 14-hit performance against Bourne or a 13-hit performance against Hyannis, whoever it might be. The Kettleers are able to generate it against good pitching, and they're up against a pretty decent pitcher today in Samuel Strickland for Falmouth. It'll be interesting to see how the lineup produces, and I like the order coming into this game. You get Joey Loperfido coming off a little hot stretch batting in the 2 spot. Casey Schmidt's been seeing the ball well. A lot to like with this Kettleers lineup.
And, of course, we talk about how Coach Roberts always shakes up his lineups. Another new one today that we'll get into when we come back. The interview that you alluded to, Sam, will play right now during the national anthem, and we'll be right back for first pitch.
4th of July baseball with Coach Roberts. Kettleers getting set to play the Falmouth Commodores. Coach, hope you're enjoying your holiday. How's the arm feeling?
Oh, arm's always okay. It's a beautiful day here in Cotuit. 80, 82 degrees. A little bit of humidity, which I like. New Englanders don't like it, but I like it. And it's been a great day with the parade and all the festivities here at Lowell Park.
How would you describe what you saw this morning and what you've seen over the years with this village coming together for the parade and the community aspect of it?
Well, I just think I see Americana at its best. People caring about each other, people enjoying each other, helping each other out the way we all should do, and children being a huge priority at the parade and here at Lowell Park. It's a special Norman Rockwell-ish area, village, ballpark, and can't duplicate. It's almost impossible to duplicate this anywhere in America. It's a kind of a one and only.
What makes it so special, especially during Family Fun Day for you, to see everybody out at Lowell Park and do the hitting contest with the Landis clan and so many familiar faces over the years?
Well, first I get butterflies in my stomach because I'm always the first one in the dunk tank. So I get butterflies, kind of like the way I used to every game that I played. And but then once you go in that dunk tank the first time, then those butterflies kind of go away. And then, being able to throw the home run or hitting contest, I guess you would call it, is always a joy. Certainly the Landis family has always been involved heavily with it, with about 15 hitters. Mom, dad, daughters, son-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, everybody in that clan, as well as other people in the village, and it's just a unique day. I don't know that there's, outside of just Americana at its best, probably is a good way for me to describe the day.
Let's go to the Diamond then. You got a game tonight. It's a great tradition to play baseball on America's birthday. What do you look for your team to bounce back and improve on after last night's loss?
Well, we certainly played poorly last night, and this team is mature enough that I think they understand that, and they take it very seriously that, their responsibility is to be there every pitch, and we weren't there every pitch last night. So, in playing the game every day, it's difficult for anybody playing the game of baseball, whether it's in Major League Baseball with the Chicago Cubs or the Boston Red Sox, the teams that have won World Series the last 2 or 3 years. It's very difficult for them to be there every pitch and to play every day like we're doing. So, do I expect us to bounce back and play very well tonight? I absolutely do.
All righty, Coach. Thank you. Enjoy your holiday, and good luck tonight.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
You heard Coach Roberts. He expects his Cotuit team to bounce back against Falmouth now with back-to-back days against the Commodores. Cotuit leads just by 4 points coming into this ball game over Falmouth in the West Division, and Cotuit has already played 4 more games than Falmouth. So Falmouth in a good spot. Really, they're going to make up the games. You have to play all of them. And they're chasing with 4 games, starting to close the ground on Cotuit. And this is an important game for them to win. Of course, we've got a month to go in the season. You don't want to call a game a big game, as Coach Roberts always says, but it's important for the momentum going into this last calendar month.
Yeah, it is. And Falmouth is a team that's starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. They got off to a really good start. They've had a lot of rainouts. They're making up one of those rainouts with a doubleheader at home against Chatham. It's rare that you see that, and that's happening tomorrow for the Doors. But task at hand, this game right here, Kettleers have got to stunt that momentum for Falmouth and recreate some of their own that they picked up in this week. 3 wins in 4 games would not be too bad. I was just about to say we're at the weekend, I guess. It's a holiday, but it's actually Thursday. You lose track of the days here in the Cape League, and It's only the fourth game the Kettleers have played this week, going back to Monday's win over Hyannis. So a great chance for them to make it 3 of their last 4 and get some good momentum heading into a Friday matchup at Hyannis tomorrow.
And it does feel like a weekend after the day we had today.
Yeah.
Cotuit takes the field. We'll take you through the Falmouth lineup. Leading off is Hayden Cantrelle. He'll play second base. Blake Dunn batting second and center. Zach Deloche batting third, playing right. Troy Clonch will bat cleanup and catch. Trey Cruz batting fifth at shortstop. Taylor Smith bats sixth, and he'll be the DH. Jackson Coots batting seventh and playing first. Tim TAWA gets in the lineup today. He bats eighth and plays third, and Austin Langworthy, the left fielder, bats ninth. Of course, they'll face Sean Sullivan, making his fourth appearance. You mentioned earlier, Sam, he was dazzling in his first outing against Hyannis. He slowed down a little bit, now trying to get back on the ship where he started.
Yeah, he's got a really good breaking pitch. He'll go to that slider, a little bit of a changeup too, and I love his fastball. It's got a lot of life. It intimidates hitters. It's got some zip, horizontal movement on it, and his key today is to get ahead. When he gets ahead, he is really good, and he'll go to that breaking ball. I expect to see him win a lot of 1-1 counts and get first pitch strikes. Those are the two key ingredients for Josh Spench and this pitching staff, and I think Sean Sullivan executes those today. He's going to need to help out his team.
Sullivan making his fourth start. You mentioned pounding the strike zone. He's only walked a pair in his 9 innings of work. Might be the right guy Cotuit needs to break that streak of free passes. In his 9 innings, he's given up 5 runs, 4 of them earned. That's good for a 4.0 ERA, and he struck out 11. So still pretty good overall, looking to bounce back. And he'll face a pretty good Falmouth lineup that's now third in the entire Cape League in batting. We're ready for the first pitch as Hayden Cantrelle strides to the plate. Switch hitter bats from the left side. The first pitch of the ball game misses inside, ball 1. Cantrelle from Louisiana Lafayette. He had a great day yesterday. Singled and had a pair of walks. Finished 1 for 3, but reached base 3 times. 1-0 pitch misses low, 2-0. Very similar lineup to what we saw yesterday. The only changes being left field, shortstop, and the catcher. The rest pretty similar to the successful lineup yesterday for Falmouth that put up 6 runs. A flare out into right field coming in is Shavers, but it'll fall in front of him for a bloop base hit.
Hayden Cantrelle knows how to get on base, and he does it there. Thought that Shavers might have a chance of that ball, but he pulled up at the last second and let it fall right in front of him for a leadoff single.
And we've seen Shavers lay out for balls in the past, some that got by him line drives. That's a good ball to lay out for. We talk about not wanting to risk it and have it roll to the wall. That one wasn't going to roll very far, but he elected to pull up and field it on a hop. So Cantrelle squeaks a single to lead the ball game off. And as we talked about in the past, Cantrelle, one of the best base stealers in the Cape League. He swiped 28 bags this spring at Louisiana Lafayette. First pitch of Blake Dunn. He squares to bunt, pulls it back, but it's a called strike on the outer half. Dunn, the center fielder, had a pair of singles in yesterday's ball game and a walk. He finished 2 for 4. Pickoff over to first base. Cantrelle back with a dive. Loperfido back at first base where he started yesterday. The infield exactly the same. Nick Gonzales at second, Oviedo at shortstop, Casey Schmidt at third. The difference is the outfield. We have Cam Hill in center field today. As the runner on the move, the throw is not in time. Stolen base for Hayden Cantrelle.
You called it, partner. He's active on the base paths early, and unfortunately, we get to see a little bit of Sam Ferry today, but unfortunately, he's unable to make a good throw down to second base to get the runner.
Sam Ferry came in late as a replacement for Cody Pasek, who struggled a little bit behind the dish. We had the one wild pitch and the one pass ball, 2 runs for Falmouth in the ball game. We mentioned how they only scored 2 runs on hits. The rest were walks or pass balls or wild pitches. So Robinson is in left, Cam Hill in center, Parker Shavers in right. Cantrelle on second, nobody out. Nick Gonzales holding him on. Curveball just bends away, it's 2-1. On deck is Zach DeLoach, the 3-hitter. It's 2-1 to the 2-hitter Blake Dunn. Pitch misses down in the dirt, blocked by Ferry. Ferry making his second start for Cotuit. The newest arrival for the Kettleers from Arizona State. Joined the team after Colton Kessler went down with an injury. Cody Pasek had done a good job in replacement, but Cotuit needed some reinforcements behind the dish. So 3-1 to the 2-hitter Blake Dunn. Runner in scoring position, still nobody out in the top of the first. Dunn from Western Michigan hit .374 this season. 5 home runs, 29 runs driven in. Sullivan comes set at the belt. The 3-1 pitch. Fastball right down Broadway, strike 2. And we're full to Blake Dunn. Sullivan quickly comes set, takes a look over at second at Cantrelle. The payoff pitch, a curveball flared into right field past Joey Loperfido. Cantrelle will hold at third, but Falmouth has runners on the corners with nobody out.
Arm, I'm not sure what it is about this Falmouth offense against the Kettleers, but they have feasted off of Cotuit pitching. Going back to last summer, the Kettleers are 1-5-1 against Falmouth over the last 7 games, including the loss last night. And basically in all of those games last year, Falmouth racked up the runs. They even won one of the games 17-7 here at Lowell Park. Right now, the Commodores look to be off to a pretty good start and trending in that same direction.
Commodores are in business. They got the 3-hitter up, Zach DeLoach, one of their hotter hitters on the ball club. Runners on the corners, nobody out. A pickoff over to first base. Dunn is back in time. A lot of contact at the top of this order. We mentioned the .374 batting average for Dunn. Cantrelle also hit over .300 this spring. Check swing on a fastball, not able to hold up was DeLoach, so strike 1, 0-1. DeLoach bats from the left side. He had a single in yesterday's ball game, just 1 for 4, but he scored in the 4th inning. The 0-1. At the knees, strike 2. A nice curveball from Sean Sullivan. Sullivan way ahead, 0-2 here. Runners on the corners. DeLoach looking for something he can put in play. The infield's back. Middle of the infield playing the double play. They'll trade a run for 2 outs. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball at the letters. Ball 1. DeLoach hitting .500 in his last 5 ball games. 9 for 18, 6 runs scored, and a run driven in. He's been seeing the ball really well for the Commodores as the entire lineup, as you mentioned earlier, has been heating up. The 1-2 pitch done on the move, but it's fouled off. Falmouth actually hitting .287 as a ball club in their last 5 games. They continue to close in on Wareham for the top batting average in the Cape League. So Dunn was on the move on that 1-2 pitch. We'll see if he's in motion again. Runners still on the corner. 1-2 to DeLoach. Sullivan comes set. The 1-2 pitch. Curveball gets away from him. Misses high. So it's 2-2 to the 3-hitter DeLoach. Troy Clonch, the catcher and cleanup hitter, waits on deck. Already 2 singles to start this ball game off for Falmouth, picking up where they left off yesterday. Another curveball floats high. 3-2. Sullivan struggling to get on top of that curveball so far. He's missed high on 3 straight. We'll see what he goes to with a full count. Nobody out. Dunn could be on the move from first. A big lead from Dunn. Sullivan comes set at the belt. Dunn's on the move. A swing and a line drive out into center field. Cam Hill gives chase. He'll make the grab, but that's deep enough for Cantrelle to tag up and score the first run of the ball game. 1-0 Falmouth in the top of the first.
Good situational hitting by Deloach and Falmouth. Cam Hill was playing a little in there, hoping for a more shallow foul or fly ball. That way he could get it in potentially to try and get the runner at third. But a drive that was over his head, he was able to catch it for out number 1, but it was able to bring in the first run of the game.
Good news for Sean Sullivan is it's only the first inning. He got the big first out now. Runner on first, a double play can get him out of it. Cleanup hitter Troy Claunch is not an easy out, though. Claunch comes into this game also hitting .286 in his last 5 games. Pickoff over to first base, Dunn's back easily. Claunch bats from the right side. Sullivan comes set, kicks and deals. A pitch out, throw over to first base behind the runner. A diving stop by Joey Loperfido at first base, who continues to show the athleticism at the first base position.
That was a great play by Loperfido, laying out to his left, selling out to stop that ball. Otherwise, Dunn probably is into third base.
Claunch saw limited action this spring at Oregon State, a junior. Just 19 starts, he hit .264. Dunn on the move, a high pitch. The throw over to second base is not in time, and off the helmet of Dunn. Kicks into the outfield, and Dunn will stroll into third base with a stolen base, and he'll advance on the error from the catcher Sam Ferry.
Unlucky play there for the Kettleers. Ferry's throw went off of Dunn's helmet and then caromed all the way into left field. Good effort by Christian Robinson to at least try and recover, and gave it all his might on the throw to third, but it was nowhere near in time, and Falmouth is bossing this first inning of play. Not much right going for the Kettleers.
And that's a big 2 bags to pick up for Falmouth. Now any fly ball will score another run. Coach Roberts will draw his infield in now with the runner on third, 1 out. It's 3-0 to Deloach, or Claunch rather. 3-0 to the cleanup hitter Claunch. On deck is Trey Cruz. The 3-0 pitch misses up and in, ball 4. The runners on the corners once again for Falmouth. Trey Cruz, the shortstop and 5-hitter, will come to the plate.
Big spot for the Kettleers. Cotuit had the infield in on that last sequence, but now with runners on the corners, looks like the middle infielders will move back for a double play ball.
The Trey Cruz will come to the plate from Rice University. He DH'd in yesterday's ball game. He gets the nod at shortstop today. Cruz from Houston, Texas, and Episcopal High School. Middle of the infield back, corners on the grass, a swing and a miss on the first pitch, strike 1. Cruz was a 33rd round pick out of high school by his hometown Houston Astros. A legacy at Rice University as well, as father Jose and uncle Enrique both played for Rice. The 0-1 pitch misses up and out, ball 1. Baseball in the Cruz family all the way from the top. A lineage of baseball. His grandfather played 19 years in the bigs as well, with the Astros, Cardinals, and Yankees.
And the funny thing about Cruz is both his grandfather and dad have dared him to hit more home runs and hits than they both had in their major league careers respectively.
And that'll be a tough feat to beat. Of course, anyone will take 19 years of pro baseball. His father set the bar pretty high. So Cruz is behind 1-2, looking for something to lift into the outfield. The middle of the infield playing the double play. The 1-2 from Sullivan, curveball, just stays high. 2-2. Cruz hit .305 for Rice this spring, 9 home runs, drove in 44. Good hitter from the left side of the plate, stands upright with the bat waving just above the shoulder. 2-2 is lifted into the infield, but it'll tail out of play and foul. So still 2-2 to Cruz. Falmouth already able to score on a sacrifice fly with 2 strikes off the bat of Zach Deloach. Now Trey Cruz trying to give Falmouth a 2-0 lead in the top of the first inning. Sullivan comes set at the belt, checks over on first base. Clonch with a modest lead. The 2-2 got him swinging on a curveball. Big strikeout for Sean Sullivan.
Sullivan's strength is his mix of breaking balls. He offers a curve, a slider, and a change, and both are really deceptive for hitters, especially when he has them all working. That time he was able to pull the string on Cruz for a big second out.
And that brings up Taylor Smith. He gets the nod today at catcher. Of course, Matt Nelson caught yesterday. Nelson didn't pick up a hit. Now, Taylor Smith from Grayson County Community College, just a sophomore. He hit .322 with 16 home runs, drove in 57. Two outs, runners on the corners. The six-hitter Smith takes a first pitch curveball, strike one. Sean Sullivan trying to limit the damage to just one run here in the first. Falmouth led off the ballgame with back-to-back singles from Hayden Cantrelle and Blake Dunn. A sac fly scored Cantrelle. Another curveball. This one gets the outside corner. Good back-to-back curveballs by Sean Sullivan. Sullivan way ahead 0-2. Clonch on first base. Dunn on third. The 0-2 pitch is lined foul down the left field line and out of play towards the Kettleer bullpen. And that's three straight curveballs from Sean Sullivan, who's starting to show a better feel for his breaking ball. He got the strikeout to Cruz on a couple breaking balls as well.
If he's able to get out of this inning only allowing one run on the two hits, that would be a huge win.
That it would be, Sam, after all of the hitting that they've done early in this ball game in the walk to Troy Clonch, trying to just limit it to one. Curveball at the letters just misses high. Sam Ferry tried to bring it down, but it's 1-2. Sullivan comes set, ready for the 1-2 pitch. Fastball on the corner, got him looking, strike three. Sullivan able to escape and just limit Falmouth to the one run. But Falmouth draws first blood, one run on two hits, one error and two left on. Cotuit will try to answer in the bottom of the first. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. First at bat for Cotuit on this 4th of July. Thank you for joining us. Arm Layton alongside my partner Sam Niederman coming at you from Lowell Park on a beautiful, beautiful America's birthday. It's been a nice day, a little warm, starting to cool off a little bit, but we've been sweating all day long from the parade now into the booth. A nice crowd on hand for America's 243rd birthday. Expect more to even still trickle in. Both grandstands pretty packed. Samuel Strickland gets the ball for Falmouth today. The southpaw will face a Cotuit lineup that sounds like this. It's Nick Gonzales leading off, Joey Loperfido batting second, Christian Robinson batting third, Casey Schmidt in the cleanup spot, Parker Shavers batting fifth, Matt Mervis gets the start at DH today, batting sixth, Sam Ferry bats seventh, Cam Hill eighth, and Adam Oviedo rounds things out at 9. Strickland from Sanford pitched a lot of games for the Bulldogs this year. He appeared in 15 starts, went 7-3 with a 4.0 ERA. Surrendered 79 hits in 62 and 2/3 innings, striking out 57. And this will be his 4th start for Falmouth this season. He picked up the loss in his last start against Hyannis, giving up 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. First pitch, and Nick Gonzales bites away, ball 1. Gonzales has been swinging a hot bat. Had a tough game yesterday, one of the few times we've seen him strike out in back-to-back at-bats, but was able to single in the 8th. Takes another ball outside for a strike. So 1-1 to Nick Gonzales. He's already reached base in 19 consecutive games to start this summer. He swings at a curveball, lines it down the left field line, bending just foul. An even more incredible stat for Nick Gonzales. He reached base in all 55 games this spring for New Mexico State. Kept it rolling now into the Cape League with 19. And that's 74 straight games, Sam, that he has reached base.
That is unreal. Just astronomical, off the charts numbers for Nick Gonzales.
So Nick Gonzales trying to make it 20 in the Cape League and 75 overall. He's behind 1-2. Takes a change up in the dirt, 2-2.
I mean, the dude doesn't know what it feels like to not run the bases in a game here in 2019.
Unbelievable.
He's just been out there at least once every single game after a hit or a walk. And when you go through his stat line, what stands out is if it's not a 3 or 4 hit night, he's got at least a couple walks.
2-2s lined up the middle and make that 20 straight ball games for Nick Gonzales. He's a machine.
He is a machine. That's a perfect way to put it. Just a classic single right up the middle. Hard hit, barreled it up. And he just continues to rake it for the Kettleers.
So Nick Gonzales able to lead things off with a single. And now Joey Loperfido, the left-handed hitter, will stride to the plate. He had the lone bright spot for the Kettleer offense yesterday. He blasted a solo shot to lead off the second inning out to right center field. The first pitch to Loperfido, a bender that goes out of the zone, 1-0. Cotuit starting to come around against left-handed pitching. We talked about how mightily they struggled to start this season off, finally over the 200 clip, hitting 206 now against Southpaws. The 1-0 to Loperfido, fastball in the dirt, blocked by the catcher Clonch. Loperfido ahead 2-0. On deck is Christian Robinson, seeing the start after an off day yesterday. Strickland comes set, takes a long look over at Gonzales. A 2-0 pitch misses up and in. Way ahead is Joey Loperfido, 3-0. Strickland, the last for a new ball. Throws the other one over to the dugout. I guess he wants nothing to do with that one. 3-0 to Loperfido. Nick Gonzales stands on first base. He singled, extending his consecutive on-base streak to 20 and 75 if you include last spring. Loperfido trying to answer Falmouth with back-to-back runners on base to start the inning. Taking all the way, a strike right down the middle. It's 3-1. Loperfido still ahead, 3-1. Big lead from Gonzales. The 3-1 pitch, a big hack, but he swings through it. It'll make things full. Just 86 on the gun from Strickland, but has some movement to it. Talked about Loperfido swinging a hot bat. He's 5 for his last 10 with a home run and 2 runs driven in. He waits the payoff pitch. Fastball misses low. That's ball 4. So Cotuit answers with back-to-back runners on base to start the bottom of the first.
Good start for the Kettleers. Gonzales the base hit, and then Loperfido a patient eye at the plate. 2 on and nobody out. And I think Christian Robinson's due to really have a breakout game. We've seen him flash his potential. He's had a couple of good singles, a couple of doubles, a walk here or there. but I think today he really puts it all together, and he's got a great opportunity here in the bottom of the first.
Robinson, a guy that the Kettleers are really hoping can tap into his power this summer. Probably the strongest player on the team. His forearms are about the size of my thigh. A guy that has all the tools. Stanford Cardinal awaits the first pitch. A curveball bends out of the strike zone, 1-0. He can run. He's strong. He can hit for power. He's got a good arm. They're just hoping the home runs will start to show up. He did not leave the yard this season for Stanford. But he did hit .287 with 9 doubles. He lifts one out into right field. We'll see who calls it. Second baseman Cantrelle calls everyone off and makes the grab. So Robinson not able to advance the runners. It's still first and second, 1 out, and Casey Schmidt will come to the plate. Casey Schmidt from San Diego State. We've seen him start to swing a hotter bat, and he's looked the best he's looked in his last couple outings on the mound as well. Schmidt comes into today's ball game with 2 home runs. Batting in the cleanup spot today, he waits to pitch the right-handed hitter from the southpaw. First pitch swinging, it's popped up. We'll see if it's in play. Coots will give chase, but it'll tail towards the first base grandstand. A warm day here at Lowell Park. Some clouds scattered all around. The sun just hitting a little bit, but it's a little humid and a little muggy. But we'll take anything that's not rain so far, as rain's been a big issue for the Cape Cod League. Already over 30 rainouts. On par to maybe even beat the record. Let's hope not. So it's 0-1 with 2 runners on. Nick Gonzales singled, Loperfido walked. And Schmidt lays off a curveball that misses away.
I can't believe Falmouth is stuck on just their 16th game of the summer. They're already 4 games behind Cotuit in games played, and we're nearing the halfway point, but they're just barely over the quarter mark.
And we talked about it in the pregame show. A pretty good spot for Falmouth, only trailing by 5 points with the 4-game deficit to Cotuit. Misses inside. Actually, it's a called strike on the inside corner. Casey Schmidt shaking his head. And that's why it's important for Cotuit to separate themselves a little bit more from Falmouth as they begin to catch up with double headers and will even things out with games played. Gonzales on second base, Loperfido on first. Nobody holding either on. Schmidt behind 1-2 to Samuel Strickland, the southpaw, who comes set at the belt. Runners on the move. It's lifted out into left field. Back at the track and foul. It would have been gone if it was fair. But we'll do 1-2 once again.
He just missed it. Was able to turn on a curveball, and Schmidt had a good eye on it, but just did not keep it in play fair.
Both of Schmidt's home runs this season have been on hanging curveballs. He does a good job of making pitchers pay for it. We'll see if Strickland goes back to the curveball or if he'll go to a fastball here. Count remains 1-2. Still 2 men on, 1 away. Falmouth drew first blood in the top of the first on a sac fly off the bat of Zach Deloche, the 3-hitter. Casey Schmidt trying to answer for the Kettleers. The 1-2 pitch misses inside and down, 2-2. On deck is the left-handed hitting Parker Shavers. Schmidt still trying to get over the Mendoza line, hitting 182 coming into this game as he lifts one in foul territory. We'll see if it's playable. It's not for the first baseman, Coots.
Both starters working pretty long innings respectively. Sean Sullivan was able to strand a couple of runners on the corners despite giving up the 1 run on a sac fly. And now Samuel Strickland's trying to get out of this 2-on with 1 out situation. A good battle by Schmidt to keep extending the at-bat.
Smith's been able to spoil the 2-strike pitches, and of course turned on a hanging curveball that just tailed foul. It would have been a 3-run shot. Still nobody holding either runner on. We'll see if Cotuit goes with the double steal again with the 2-2 count. Schmidt bats from the right side here. The 2-2 is grounded foul again. A nice battle, as you said, Sam, between the southpaw Strickland and the right-handed hitting Schmidt. The umpires for today, behind the plate is Doug Isham. Third base is Ronaldo Cuckrum, and first base is Don DiGoloramo. One of the harder names to say of all the umpires. So Schmidt still alive, 2-2. A big lead off of first by Joey Loperfido. Gonzales takes a big shuffle and an inside move from Samuel Strickland to make him retreat back to the bag. Schmidt finished yesterday's ball game 0 for 4 with a strikeout and 2 flyouts. He's in the middle of a good battle between himself and Strickland. The 2-2 pitch, a curveball laced foul. And it's that battle keep on going.
Just out in front of it again. If he just hangs back a little more, that's a double down the line. But really good at-bat by Casey Schmidt.
So
He's a competitor. Coach Roberts told us about it. He competes like crazy.
On the mound and at the plate. One of 2 two-way guys for this Kettleer team, Matt Mervis, who gets to start at DH today, a guy we could see in relief. We've seen Coach Roberts like to work with that DH and two-way players that he can shuffle into the field and bring on the mound. Another 2-2 pitch to Casey Schmidt. Another curveball. It's grounded over to the third baseman, TAWA. He goes to second base. It took him off the bag, but they'll call him out. So Cuckrum calls him out on second base. It looked like the throw from TAWA took the second baseman Cantrelle off the bag. But Gonzales was able to advance to third base, and Casey Schmidt gets to first. So runners are on the corners, 2 outs, and Parker Chavers will try and keep the Kettleer tradition so far this year of plating runs with 2 outs. First pitch at Chavers is a curveball. It's just 69 on the gun, but it's a strike. Cotuit hitting .299 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They've driven in 36 of their runs this season in that situation. 0-1 is fouled straight back from Shavers. Back-to-back curveballs from Strickland to start off the at-bat. And it really looked like that throw took Cantrelle off of second base. You saw Loperfido did not agree with the call. Don't have instant replay in the Cape Cod League, so what the call is usually goes. Casey Schmidt on the move, but that's a swinging strike 3 from Parker Shavers. So Strickland able to dance out of a jam after the first 2 batters reached base. Nick Gonzales singled and Loperfido walked. He strands 2, just giving up the 1 hit. It's 1-0 in favor of Falmouth. We'll go into the top of the second. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. after scoring in the first inning. It'll be the bottom third of the order for Sean Sullivan, Jackson Coots, Tim TAWA, and Austin Langworthy. First pitch is fouled straight back by Coots. 0-1. Coots bats from the left side. Waits the 0-1 pitch. A fastball just misses inside. Tried to bring it up, did Ferry, but Isham wasn't biting the home plate umpire. Coots from the University of Rhode Island, a junior. Stands at 6'3", 240 pounds from the left side of the plate. Hit .310 in 43 games, drove in 21. The 1-1 pitch. This is down and away, ball 2. Casey Schmidt shades over towards shortstop. Everyone else playing straight up in the infield. The 2-1. Flared off the end of the bat. It'll go foul, and it's 2-2. And Coots will actually need a new piece of lumber. Looks like he got that right off the cap if it was a metal bat, so to speak. He's asking his coach if it's still good to go.
You know, we had no metal bats today in the hitting contest.
We had no metal bats, and that's the way to
went
do
old
it.
School. Yep.
It's a Cape Cod league. You got to do it with the wood.
Everybody did good. Everybody got one at least in play.
Yeah,
we had 35 different people come up to the plate.
Coach Roberts has the rubber arm through to about 20 players, or 20 contestants. Ground ball back to Sullivan. He fields it. He'll jog towards first base, flip it underhand to Loperfido for out number 1. He nearly pitched to every single contestant. He had to leave at some point, but it wasn't because he was tired. He actually had to run, or else I think he would have been able to throw to everyone.
Yeah, I think he threw to everybody last season. He might have had Paul Widener get in there at the last second. It was also good to see Paul Widener today, former assistant from last year's team, who's now with Creighton University's baseball program. He came back today for the 4th of July.
First pitch from Tim TAWA is lined out into left field for a base hit. TAWA didn't waste any time to reach base. And now 1 on with 1 out.
But I was impressed with Coach Roberts' arm again. He knows how to sling some BP. I wonder how many BP pitches he's thrown across his entire coaching career. It's got to be up in the hundred of thousands, I bet.
I was going to say every bit of 6 figures plus.
Yeah.
And he says he's got more bullets left. He says he's got no problem throwing. So Sullivan now out of the stretch. He picks off over to first base. TAWA dives back. TAWA, a guy that can move. He had 10 stolen bases this spring. He played it with the Newport Goals last summer in the NECBL. He reached base in 25 straight games. A great year for the Goals. First pitch is a fastball that misses away, and we talked about yesterday a little bit how good of an athlete TAWA was. He played football, basketball, and baseball. One of the best quarterbacks in the state of Oregon's history. All-time leader in touchdowns, completions, and yards. Back easily again is TAWA on a pickoff from Sullivan. Of course, ultimately elected to play baseball at Stanford, where he plays now, a teammate of Christian Robinson, today's left fielder for the Kettleers, but I'm sure he had plenty of opportunity to play college football if he wanted to. Second pitch to Austin Langworthy, swings through for strike 1. Langworthy making his second year out here in the Cape with Falmouth. Of course, most notably known for that home run out to right field that nicked off of the Auburn player's glove for a walk-off home run to send him to the College World Series. Is a fastball on the inside corner for strike 2 rather. Of course, that Auburn player that it nicked off of was Stephen Williams, his teammate at Falmouth last year. It's crazy how it's a small world. Sometimes things just go in full circle.
Yeah, I can't believe that they played together last summer, but I don't know how that conversation went down, but I'm sure they enjoyed each other's time throughout the year as teammates.
I wonder if it's one of those things that was just not spoken
of. Yeah, maybe I was just thinking, maybe they didn't even bring it up, Maybe they just pretended like it never happened.
And that was heartbreak for Auburn, as that ball probably would not have gotten out. He jumped up to make the catch, and it bounced right out of the pocket of his glove and went right over the wall. for a walk-off in Game 3 of the Super Regional as the 2-2 misses in the dirt. A good block from Sam Ferry.
You know, I feel like Auburn is always involved in a lot of the wackiest, luckiest plays in all college sports, not just baseball. Obviously, kick six for football. They were tied up in that whole Final Four foul thing against Virginia this year for basketball, and then they did get some reverse karma and made the College World Series this year unseeded. Weren't even a national team and upset North Carolina in a super to get to Omaha. But again, like you said, last year Aram went up against an SEC rival in Florida and had that unlucky bounce that kept him away, and that team was probably a better team.
Payoff pitch to Langworthy. He's crushed out into right field. Back is Shavers towards the wall, and he'll make the grab right by the fence. Langworthy almost able to get it out of here, but just not quite enough juice. And he'll go back to the top of the order for Falmouth.
That's a good job by Shavers. I saw him looking up, then back down at the fence, up once more to keep track of the ball, and then back over to the fence once more to check and see if he had room. And by that time, he gauged his calibration and he was able to make the catch. That's a nice play out there in right field.
And was that also Auburn 2 years ago that could have caught the ball in foul territory, dropped it?
No, Arkansas.
That was Arkansas.
Remember?
I was
Oregon
remembering
State.
an
Yep.
SEC team with an A.
Mm-hmm.
That was heartbreak, too. First pitch of the leadoff hitter is lined out into left field. Shavers is getting another chance at one. He's called off by Cam Hill, though, and Cam Hill will make the grab. So a much better inning in his second inning of work for Sean Sullivan. Just a one runner reaches base, Tim TAWA on a single. Nothing else doing for Falmouth. Still 1-0 in favor of the Commodores. We'll go into the bottom of the second. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Mervis, the DH, will lead things off in the second inning for Cotuit. Cotuit stranded two runners after Nick Gonzales singled in the first inning. Loperfido walked. Eventually stranded runners on the corners. Mervis, the DH in today's ball game. It's a first pitch curveball that bends away. Mervis, a two-way guy, one of two two-way players for the Kettleers. Of course, Casey Schmidt, the other. We've seen Mervis on the bump more than at the plate, but he gets to start today. He doubled in his last at-bat in a pinch hit appearance just 2 games ago against Bourne. Takes a big hack at the 1-0 and fouls it straight back. Mervis, a teammate of Loperfido, the first baseman today at Duke. Of course, teammates of former Cotuit Kettleers Zach Cohn and Griffin Conine. Fouled straight back again. It's 1-2. Duke has been a pipeline to this Kettler team and the Cape Cod League in general the last couple of seasons. Of course, Griffin Conine won Cape Player of the Year in 2017, and Zach Cohn was an all-star with him in 2017. Blue Devils have treated the Kettleers well and vice versa. The 1-2 pitch, able to lay off a curveball, a nice take by Matt Mervis. The last Ronaldo Cuckrum if he went just in case, but he did not. Mervis stands tall at 6'4" from the left side. Can run it up to 95 on the mound, and if you've seen him hit batting practice, can hit it as far as anybody. 2-2 pitch. Another foul ball straight back. We'll do 2-2 again. And Sam, so far, the Kettleer hitters have really been able to spoil two-strike pitches from Strickland.
Coach Roberts has got to love that. His guys are battling up there. They're really fighting hard. We've seen multiple dudes step up after not being so strong with that kind of situation at the beginning of the season, but players are improving and beginning to elongate their at-bats.
See if Mervis can do it again. 2-2. A line drive out to shortstop, fielded on a hop by Cantrelle. And the throw on to first will get the first out of the inning, but a good piece from Matt Mervis there.
He was able to lumber it up, but just a better play on the other end by Cantrelle.
So Sam Ferry in his second start for the Kettleers. We saw him briefly at the end of the last ball game yesterday at Falmouth. He was a defensive replacement for Cody Pasek. He gets the start today behind the dish. He bats seventh. First pitch to Sam Ferry, misses inside, ball one. Sam Ferry, Arizona State Sun Devil, part of a potent offense over in Arizona. Of course, one of the best offenses in the country, but his calling card is his defense. Phenomenal glove behind the dish, something that really attracted Coach Roberts, who likes his catchers. And we've seen him get really athletic back there. The 1-0 count's lifted out into center field. Giving chase is done, and he makes the grab just in front of the wall. A great grab by Blake Dunn.
Wow, what a catch out there by Dunn. That would have been extra bases for sure, and you feel for Sam Ferry, who's still trying to find his first Cotuit hit. He got a hold of that ball and drove it into the left center alley, but Dunn was able to get on his horse and make a phenomenal play right at the fence.
Yes, a great piece there from Sam Ferry, but nothing to show for it. Two hard-hit balls by the Kettleers to lead off this inning, but 2 outs. And that brings up Cam Hill, who also makes an appearance in today's lineup after not playing in yesterday's ball game. He squares the bunt at the first pitch, fouls it into the glove, but it's a foul tip, so it's just strike one. Hill's been struggling a little bit in his last 17 at-bats, just 3 hits. It's a 176 batting average in his last 10 games. It's 0-1. He checks a swing at a curveball. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Ronaldo Cuckram, the third place umpire. So quickly 0-2 to Cam Hill. Tries to battle back against Samuel Strickland and extend this inning. On deck is the 9-hitter Adam Oviedo. The 0-2 pitch to Cam Hill is lined out into right center field. Langworthy has a good beat on it and makes the grab. So a 1-2-3 inning for the Kettleers in the second inning. We'll go into the top of the third, and my partner Sam Niederman will take over. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back to Lowell Park. Happy 4th of July. It's the top of the third inning. Falmouth on top of Cotuit, 1-0. Sam Niederman alongside Arm Layton. We are in the Arnold Mycock press box. Falmouth is back at the plate. 2, 3, and 4 due up. Blake Dunn, the right-handed batter, fouls off strike one. Sean Sullivan has worked 2 innings. He's allowed 1 run on 3 hits so far. Dunn's at the plate, 1 for 1. stole a base in his first time up and was stranded at third. 0-1 fastball from Sullivan, high and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sam Ferry's doing the Yadier Molina splits back there behind home plate again, stretching out his right hammy. 1-1. Fastball dives low and away. 2 balls and a strike. Dunn, a native of Saugatuck, Michigan. Born in Holland, Michigan. He goes to Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. And he taps one to the left of the mound. Picked up on a bare hand by Sullivan, and he wasn't able to secure it. Dunn able to get up to first base safely. Let's see how they score that one. What do you think?
That's got to be a base hit. That was almost a perfect swinging bunt there. You couldn't have rolled it any better, and Sullivan's only chance was to try and barehand it. But they're going to rule that error.
Yeah.
I strongly disagree, but I'll have to have a word with who keeps score. How does that work?
I think it's our good friend Mike Siegel over there in the booth next to us.
I'm going to talk to our friend Mike Siegel. I think I disagree. I respectfully disagree.
That's the second error of the afternoon on the Kettleers. Man on first with nobody out for Falmouth. Top of 3, 1-0 Falmouth. Sean Sullivan goes back to the stretch. He works offset to the first base side of the rubber. Casey Schmidt comes into the edge of the grass at third. And another throw over to pick on Dunn. Zach DeLoach, the next batter. Left-handed batting right fielder. He produced the only run of this contest. An RBI sac fly to center back in the top of the first. Sullivan comes set, slightly open out of the stretch. Runner going and Dunn. Fastball on the outside corner. No throw from Ferry. He double clutched on it. And Blake Dunn picks up his second steal of the afternoon. Dunn slid head first. His entire uniform chalked up with dirt. Falmouth in the road blacks today, trimmed in maroon. Falmouth across the chest. Gray pants. A lot of players going with the high socks. Man on second, nobody out. Spin move by Sullivan. Oviedo shuffled over to second to cover, but Dunn back in standing up. 1-0 Falmouth. Top of the third inning. 4th of July baseball at Lowell Park. A great treat to get some Cape League action on America's birthday. Sullivan set again. Quick leg lift. And a fastball zipped away foul. 0-2 on DeLoach.
And DeLoach is a 3-hitter, so of course he's trying to get his hacks in, but now it's 0-2. Your job is just to shorten up and try and yank a ground ball to the right side, just no outs here. You need to get Blake Dunn over to third base so a sac flies in play. We'll see if he chokes up and tries to just pull a ground ball and do a job.
No balls and 2 strikes on the batter and DeLoach. Runner on second and Dunn. Nobody out in the third. Sullivan a deep breath, peers over to second. Dunn shuffles off, deals in a fastball. It's lifted into left. Foul ground. Robinson sprinting. Can he get there? He does. Nice stab out of the air for out number 1.
And DeLoach not doing a job there. He inside-outed it. Of course, you're trying to look for something you can pull, even with 2 strikes. And that was a flare out to right field, or left field, rather, and it kind of had some tailing action, and it was a great job by Christian Robinson, who almost overran it.
He
so
almost
the perfect
did.
word that you made, you said there, it was a stab.
Yeah.
He absolutely stabbed at it and just snagged it out of the air. And a good body adjustment there, like a wide receiver. They call it like body control with those wide receivers. That's all that was from Christian Robinson, who looks like he could play football.
Definitely. 1 down and a man on second for Falmouth into the third. Here's Troy Clonch, the catcher, who reached on a walk his first time up. First pitch swinging. He lines one past Oviedo into left. Dunn coasts into third. Robinson tosses it into the cut in time. Falmouth racks up their 4th hit of the afternoon. And the Commodores have first and third with only 1 out here in the top of the third inning. Well, that last catch by Robinson out in left field, it was like I don't remember what movie, but it's like a movie scene where there's money going all over the place, and you're just trying to grab whatever you can out of the air, you know, on a windy day or something. And he was able to pick out that fly ball without overrunning it and foul territory.
And it was a weird slicing ball that sometimes it's hard to read with that inside-out swing from the lefty DeLoach.
Runners on the corners, 1 down. Sullivan a pick over to check on Clonch at first. Trey Cruz, the batter, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Falmouth ahead 1-0 in the top of the third inning, looking to add to it. Sullivan ready at the belt. First pitch, curveball, last into right field. Shavers looking for it. He's unable to get there in the gap. Falmouth extends their lead. Trey Cruz with an extra base hit to play Blake Dunn. Here comes Troy Claunch. Late cutoff throw from Gonzales, and it's not nearly in time. An RBI triple for Trey Cruz. Make it 3-0 Falmouth here in the third inning.
And Parker Shavers tried to cut that ball off, taking a direct route at it. And by the time he got there, it got by him. That's why sometimes you got to go at an angle and just concede the extra base. He tried to cut it off. We've seen him do that a couple times this year and make that mistake, and it rolled all the way to the wall. Your job there is trying to keep it from going to the wall, and unfortunately he was not able to do that. And what should have been a single and a double at most turns into a triple and a run.
Falmouth has pounced on Cotuit early, leading 3-0 in the third. Trey Cruz a 2 RBI triple. Man on third with 1 out, and Taylor Smith, the batter, he takes a high and tight fastball for strike 1. Dunn scored easily from third, and then Claunch scored all the way from first on that last hit. 0-1, foul tip at home plate, quickly 0-2. Cotuit brings the infield in on the edge of the grass again. Smith 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking back in the first. Falmouth already ahead 3-0 on the strength of 5 hits. RBI sac fly by DeLoach and the 2-run triple by Cruz here in this frame. 0-2. Fastball brushed him back inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kettleers in the home whites today, trimmed in maroon. Maroon caps with the silver script C. 1-2. Breaking ball. Swing and a miss. Sullivan pulls a string on him, and that's a strikeout for out number 2 here in the third.
Another huge strikeout for Sullivan with the runner on third and 1 out. Now taking away the sac fly, and the infield can now go back, trying to limit the damage to 3 runs.
2 down with a runner on third and Cruz. Now Jackson Coots, the number 7 batter, climbs in. Left-handed batting first baseman. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to the pitcher. First pitch from Sullivan. Fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike 1. Infield resets to normal depth. Casey Schmidt shades just a tick towards the middle of the left side of the infield. 0-1. Downhill changeup blocked by Ferry. Good work with a chest protector there to keep it in front. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Starting to see a little bit of Ferry's athleticism behind the plate. That was a tough ball to block, and he's been pretty good back there. He's had a couple tough pitches to throw runners out on, and Dunn's stolen 2 bags on him, but other than that, he's been really good behind the dish.
1-1. Grounded hard and foul right by the first base dugout. Sullivan ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Coots. Coots from the University of Rhode Island, a native of Orono, Maine. Played a little bit with the Wareham Gatemen last summer. Hard fastball up and out, 2-2.
They got that opportunity with Wareham after tearing up the NECBL. Sometimes players that do really well in the NECBL will be late additions. I'm sure Cotuit had a few in the past last year when you were here.
2-2. Breaking ball, swiped outside, 3-2.
Ralph Chamet, right?
Rafe Chomet, yeah, I was literally just about to say it.
I was in the NECBL last year, and he absolutely tore it up.
Bay Sox, right?
With the Bay Sox.
Yeah.
Tore it up. He was fantastic.
Payoff pitch. Fastball low. That's another walk. Coots keeps the inning alive for Falmouth. A 2-out walk to make it runners on the corners. And the number 8 batter due up, and Tim TAWA. Has not been a pretty start for the Kettleers in the field so far. Falmouth got on the board in the first with an RBI sac fly from Zach DeLoach. Trey Cruz added a 2-run triple here in the third, and that's where we stand, 3-0. Sullivan unable to finish off the inning. Coots walks. He's aboard at first. Cruz still on third, and Tim TAWA at the plate. Right-handed batting third baseman out of Stanford. Time called from behind home plate. Sam Ferry takes off his mask. Looks like he's got something in his eye. TAWA 1 for 1 with a single back in the second. Sullivan looks back over at the runner in first. Not much of a threat there with Coots, big first baseman. He was only about a half step off, and he sheds back in on a throw.
TAWA, another guy that tore up the NECBL in 31 games. Last summer, he hit .336 with 7 home runs. Stole 12 bags as well.
Fastball, lifted up foul, right behind home plate. No balls and 1 strike. We talked a little bit about him last night, but this guy had the whole package in high school. a 3-time state champion in baseball, a 1-time state champion in football, holds multiple records as a quarterback. 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year in football, too. That's insane. 0-1 breaking ball, ripped foul down the line and into the Kettleer bullpen. No balls and 2 strikes. Had a 4.17 GPA in high school. And his pro athlete comparison, can you guess?
As a quarterback?
Quarterback and baseball player. That might be a giveaway.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, yes indeed. 6 foot 185. He's from the right side and in an 0-2 hole. Falmouth up 3-0. Hard fastball at 92 miles an hour, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is a guy, Tim TAWA, that played in 6 state championship games combined across 9 varsity seasons in the big 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball. Fastball low and out, 2-2. I mean, that's just incredible. Product of West Lynn High School in West Lynn, Oregon. Falmouth leads 3-0 in the top of 3. 2-2. Breaking ball, just nipped away foul at the plate. TAWA stays alive. Trey Cruz with a 2-run triple to extend the lead here in the 3rd. He's on 3rd base. Jackson Coots on 1st base after a walk to keep the inning going. Nick Gonzales shades a little towards 2nd up the middle on the infield. Big gap on the right side with Loperfido holding on. 2-2. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Sean Sullivan gets a big strikeout. He needed that one. It's his 4th of the game, and it completes the inning here in the top of the 3rd. But Falmouth comes up with another big inning. 2 runs on a total of 2 hits with a couple left on the corners. No errors, or 1 error rather, and a couple left on base. We will be right back with the bottom of the 3rd. Kettleers come to the plate next. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Fourth of July, bottom of the 3rd inning. Kettleers down 3-0. Time for Cotuit to try and get something started. 9-1-2 due up against the lefty Samuel Strickland, and it begins with Adam Oviedo. He fouls off the first pitch he sees. That trickles up the right field line, and Obi's in a no-ball, 1-strike hole. Kettleers have only amassed 1 hit today. Came from Nick Gonzales to lead things off. He's now reached base in all 20 games to open up the season. Falmouth extended the lead with a 2-run triple by Cruz in the top of this inning. Strickland out of the windup, 0-1. Curveball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike on Oviedo. One. Fastball. Cued foul on the right side, past first base. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Oviedo. Obi went 0 for 2 last night with a pair of groundouts. Also walked in the game. Was caught stealing in a weird little pickle play that capped off the 3rd inning last night.
It's a big spot for Ovi here as a 9-hitter leading off an inning. You're basically like a second leadoff hitter. And you want to get on base and put the pressure on Strickland when the top of the order comes back around.
3-0 Falmouth in the bottom of the third. 1-2. Curveball on the dirt. 2-2. Strickland at 6'2", 225 pounds. He's a big guy. A junior from the red, white, and blue of Samford U in Birmingham, Alabama. Member of the SoCon Conference, a really good baseball program under longtime head coach Casey Dunn. Fastball poked up the middle. That's down into center for a base hit.
You talk about Samford, they dominated. They're a team that can compete with most of the Power 5 teams. They went 41-19 this season and 19-5 in conference play. They love to play those tough non-conference games. And they took 2 out of 3 from Aubrey Major's Xavier squad on the road.
They've had a lot of good talent come through the Cape League, including Philip Irvin, who's a 2015 first-round draft choice to the Cincinnati Reds, and now he's up in the show playing for the Reds. Oviedo's aboard, leadoff single, held on by Coots at first. Nick Gonzales back at the plate, and he turns on one foul up the left field line. No balls and 1 strike. 3-0 in favor of Falmouth, home half of the third inning. Gonzales 1 for 1 with a single into center his first time up. TAWA plays in by a step at third, middle of the infield for Falmouth at double play depth. 0-1. Poked foul right at home plate. No balls and 2 strikes on Gonzales. There's a big gap on the right side of the infield for the Kettleers. Coots still holding on the runner in Oviedo. Dunn plays offset a little bit to the right center gap for Falmouth in the outfield.
And Gonzo, a guy that'll have no problem going the other way. We'll see if he tries to push it the other way on an off-speed pitch or something away. A big hole, like you mentioned, about a 70-foot gap on the right side. A lot of space to work with for Gonzales.
0-2. Checked his swing on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and did not go around, according to the first base umpire. Gonzo alive for the moment. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Was able to extend his then 19-game on-base streak last night. Went 1 for 4 with a single in the 8th. He's already working on 20 games with his single back in the first. Man on first in Oviedo, nobody out. Kettleers down by 3 in the bottom of the third. 1-2. Fastball poked to second, taken by Cantrelle. Over to short, Cruz the flip onto first. No, did not get him in time. Coots a good stretch, but Gonzales scoots up there to preserve what would have been a 4-6-3 double play.
Tough break there. We talked about going to the right side. Of course, where he hit it was right at him. Nothing you can do about that. You can't be that precise with hitting. He had the right idea, trying to go the other way. At the very least, the Kettleers replace Oviedo with one of their fastest runners on base, and still only 1 away for Joey Loperfido.
That's a good way to look at it. Gonzales safe on the fielder's choice. 4-6. It retires the lead runner in Oviedo. 3-0 Falmouth in the bottom of the third inning. Still a double play situation on the infield. Here's Joey Loperfido, who takes a breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 1. Loperfido 0 for 0. He walked back in the first inning. TAWA in by a step at third base. Strickland comes set. The lefty looks over at Gonzales, lifts a leg. Gonzales on the move. Loperfido a fly ball, deep left center. Dunn tracking over into the gap, and he's able to make the play for out number 2.
Another tough spot there where if you're Joey Loperfido, you have to swing away when it's 0-1. But Gonzales had that base stolen. He probably could have got it into second base standing up. But, of course, your priority, if you're already down 1 strike, you got to swing away. If it was maybe the first pitch, you take that when you see Gonzales so far off the bag. But also for a left-handed hitter, it's a little bit harder to see what kind of jump your guy got.
So instead, there are 2 outs with a runner on first and Gonzales still. Coots still holds on, and Christian Robinson digs back in. He's 0 for 1 with a pop out to second base. Strickland ready at the belt, stares down Gonzales, and now makes a move over that way. Strickland in the stirrups on the rubber. Big lefty out of Birmingham. Falmouth ahead 3-0 in the bottom of the third inning. 2 outs and a man on for the Kettleers. Leg lift, first pitch. Fastball on the outside corner. No balls and a strike on Robinson. Strickland played his high school baseball at Briarwood Christian High School. That's just about 10 miles south of the Samford campus in Homewood.
Didn't have to venture too far from home. I wonder if he commutes or if he lives on campus.
Ooh, good point. Ground ball to second. Should be easy for Cantrelle. He flips it on to second to get the lead runner in Gonzales and retire the side. Well, it's only a little trek from US 280 to get up to Homewood in the beautiful Sanford campus, so we'll have to maybe find that out on the other side. But Cotuit unable to come up with no runs on one hit. No errors and one man left on base, and we have play 3 complete. Falmouth controls it 3-0. Coming up next, 4th inning of play, and former Major Leaguer Brian Roberts joins us in the booth. We'll chat with him for a whole inning and catch up on all things baseball. That's coming up here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The 4th inning at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 3-0 against the Falmouth Commodores, and we are joined by a special guest in the booth, Brian Roberts, son of Coach Mike Roberts. Brian, so great to have you back in the booth, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always good to be in the Cape.
Oh, it's going to be fun. We're going to chat with Brian for the next inning or so, and it's a new pitcher on the mound for the Kettleers. Chris Holcomb replaces Sean Sullivan for the 4th. He's up against the bottom of the Falmouth order here. Austin Langworthy, the number 9 batter, then Hayden Cantrelle and Blake Dunn. Brian Roberts, a former major leaguer with the Baltimore Orioles, played under his father Mike at the University of North Carolina, played in the Cape League with the Chatham A's back in 1998. And I want to start there, Brian, because that's a very special team in Chatham lore, the last team to win a championship. You were a part of it with head coach John Schiffner. What memories come back to you when you think of that summer with Chatham?
Oh my goodness, I have so many great memories from that team, from that summer. John Schiffner, as you mentioned, no longer there, but we just had an awesome time. We played hard. We had a great group of guys that enjoyed being around each other and playing. And then, in the championship, we were playing against Wareham, and the pitching was unbelievable. We faced Ben Sheets and Barry Zito in 2 of the games, and I think Sheets struck out 16 of us the first or second night. Zito might have struck out 15 or so the next night. So it was a battle for sure.
There's a fly ball from Langworthy into center. Good play by Cam Hill to range over to the right center gap. 1 down here in the top of the 4th. Ben Sheets and Barry Zito.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't. I don't mean it necessarily all the time, but nowadays you don't necessarily see guys go that deep into games in the Cape, just from the protection of arms and that sort of stuff. And I understand totally, but those guys were trying to throw complete games, and they did. And so it was fun, man. The competition was incredible, and no doubt something that helps prepare you for the next level.
Who do you think was the toughest pitcher that you faced in your major league career? You were already primed going up against a couple of really good caliber arms in the Cape League, but who were some of the guys that were just really hard to go up against in the majors?
I think early in my career, the Randy Johnsons and the Kurt Schillings and those guys, Pedro Martinez, and then a little bit later you had Roy Halladay, you had Justin Verlander. Those guys just were dominant, and probably my least favorite guy was Tim Wakefield, though.
Oh,
to
yeah.
be honest with
Yeah.
you. The 95 you kind of see on a daily basis. You don't see the 80 with no spin and no rotation very often. So he was one of my least favorites.
And you're seeing him a pretty decent amount of
I
the
did.
AL East then, too. Yeah.
I did, unfortunately, way more than I ever wanted to. I was so bad against him. I think at one point I finally walked into the manager's office and told him, I think we have a much better chance if I don't play today.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's
But
funny.
then, then you also get the relievers, the guys like Mariano Rivera and Trevor Hoffman and those guys. And they're so different because it's only one inning and Mariano just one pitch.
Talking with Brian Roberts, former MLB All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles, Coach Mike Roberts' son. He's here with us in the booth. Top of the fourth, 2 outs, the bases empty, and Blake Dunn's at the plate. 1 for 2 today with a single and a run scored, reached on an error back in the last inning. What was your first major league game like? What was your first at-bat like? Could you go back to your debut?
Oh, yeah. You don't forget anything about that. And I got called up in the middle of the night before, like 1 o'clock in the morning. Mike Bordick had gotten hurt playing shortstop for us. And I flew into Baltimore from Rochester, New York, and we were playing the New York Mets in an interleague game, actually. And so I walked into Mike Hargrove's office, and he looked at me. He said, "You're batting second and playing shortstop. Don't get nervous." And that was his advice, which looking back, I'm not sure that helped me a whole lot. But, yeah, the experience was incredible. And my first at-bat was against Steve Traxel, actually. And then my first ground ball I got in the first inning from Mike Piazza.
Oh, my gosh. How about that? Did you guys win the game?
We did win, and I lined out my first at-bat on the first pitch. I think he could have thrown the rosin bag up there, and I would have swung, And then my next at-bat, I got my first big league hit in my second at-bat.
Very cool. Talking about Brian Roberts here. Chris Holcomb just worked a 1-2-3 inning, got Blake Dunn to strike out looking. We'll keep it right here throughout the rest of this break and keep on going into the bottom of the fourth. So that was your first major league at-bat. You got to play alongside a legend in Cal Ripken Jr. What was that like in your time in Baltimore?
Yeah, that was special. I mean, to show up and all of a sudden I'm playing shortstop in Camden Yards, which was the home of Cal Ripken, and playing shortstop in Camden Yards, and Cal was playing third base now. And so to look to my right and see Cal, a living legend, someone who is just an incredible ambassador for the entire game of baseball, it was nerve-wracking. But it's also something that I had an opportunity to learn a lot just from watching Cal go about his business. I mean, he was 20 years into the big leagues, and I was telling the Cotuit players just the other day, actually talking and addressing them for a few minutes about that, about how 20 years into the big leagues and Cal was still doing the same thing every day. His routine never changed. He was in the cage at 3 o'clock hitting off a tee and everything. And that's what makes the great players great, that no matter how long they've been doing it, they never get tired of it. They know that's what they have to do to prepare and be great at what they do.
Wow, that's really good. I was just talking with Coach actually before the game, and he was talking about consistency, being there for every pitch. And there's a Ken Revisa quote on the whiteboard about how if you want your performance to be consistent, you gotta be consistent in the way you prepare.
Absolutely.
That's right in line with that. How about that? So we're talking with Brian Roberts here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Kettleers down 3-0, about to come to the plate against the lefty Samuel Strickland, Casey Schmidt, Parker Chavers, and then Matt Mervis. Arm Layton is my broadcast partner in the booth, and he's giving me a stat right now that you were 7 of 21 in your career against Mariano Rivera. Did you know that?
I did know I had pretty good numbers against him, or at least reasonable numbers against him. So sometimes you credit being lucky better than being good in those instances.
No magic trick, nothing you would have shared with your teammates?
No, I did try to share. I did feel like I learned a couple things about how to at least give yourself a better chance of success against Mariano. What made him so incredible was that we all know he had the cutter that was just out of this world. And against left-handed hitters, he's coming in the ninth inning with the lead. And so most hitters are aggressive, right? They want to be the hero. And what he would do is he'd bury that cutter in on your hands off the plate, trying to take advantage of your aggressiveness, which is why he blew up so many bats, and broke bats left and right and everything. And so I actually got to the point where I kind of started to take early in the count, and he would actually get behind in the count sometimes because he was feeding off of that. And then every now and then you'd get a pitch to hit a little bit later in the account, and you just hope you can find enough barrel to squeeze it in the outfield somewhere. And I was fortunate enough to get a few out there, but I loved competing against him. One of my favorite, I have a decent amount of memorabilia that I don't really care much about memorabilia, but my favorite piece is one. I walked into a store in Sarasota by accident. It's a sports memorabilia store, and
Parker Chavers, a ground ball to first. That's off the glove of Coots, and it squirts up the right field line. Could be more than just one base for Chavers, who's able to scoot into second base. Kettleers have a little something going here in the bottom of the 4th inning. One out and a man in scoring position.
It's been fun to watch Chambers say. He's a good-looking player. I really like watching him play.
Isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. But I have this one picture, and I walked in this memorabilia store, and I happened to look up, and there was this enormous panorama picture, and I looked up, and I was with my wife and my kids, and my in-laws, actually, and I said, honey, that looks like me hitting. I'm like, wait, that's Yankee Stadium. And I actually, the one fun thing that I have is I made the final out at the old Yankee Stadium, the last out ever.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was against Mariano, and Mariano's on the mound, and the ball's about halfway, and I'm getting ready to swing, and there's lights, flashes going off everywhere.
How about that? Matt Mervis with a little base hit into center field. Throw up the line, and Chambers comes home to score. Kettleers on the board, an RBI single by Matt Mervis, and that makes it a 3-1 game here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
And so I was able to send that big picture over to him, and he signed it to me. He was like, "It's been great competing against you all these years and stuff." And like, he's just, to me, he's the epitome of what Major League Baseball should be. Just the way he went about his business, how good he was, but also what a great person he was.
That's really nice of him to do that. Who are some of the guys that you stay in touch with, former teammates or former opponents that you're close to today?
Yeah, Chris Davis and I got pretty tight in Baltimore, and it's I know it's been hard for a lot of people to watch his struggles over the last year or so, and trying to continue to encourage him. I was real good friends with Matt Holliday from the Cardinals, and stayed in touch with him for a long time. Matt Wieters texted me last night, who's now with the Cardinals, back with the Cardinals playing. And so there's a bunch of guys, had an opportunity to play with Derek Jeter my last year, and he lived in Tampa. I live in Sarasota, so been able to stay in contact with him as well. And so just a lot of you make so many wonderful friends playing for as long as I had the opportunity to play for.
Here's Sam Ferry at the plate. Kettleers down 3-1. Bottom of the 4th inning with one out and a runner on second base. Matt Mervis with an RBI single to get Cotuit on the board. Ferry a ground ball on the left side. Scooped up by TAWA. Thought about trying to tag the runner, but instead throws over to first to get the trailer for out number 2. Talk with Brian Roberts, head coach Mike Roberts' son, former MLB All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles. You've got 2 little boys, and it was really cool to see him playing catch with your dad. 3 generations of Roberts baseball on the field the other night. Just how special is it to be able to be with your dad? You played under him throughout your collegiate career, and now you're here with him in Cotuit. You come up every summer. How special of an experience is it to have that family time?
It's gotten more and more special every year as my boys have gotten a little bit older. I first started coming here right after I retired, and it was my son's actually when he turned 1 here in Cape Cod, in Cotuit, and now he's almost 6. And so it's been a blast to be able to be a part of the Cape League again and have my dad throwing BP to my 6-year-old and be on the field. These are memories that you can't replace.
It's awesome to see. Do you think they'll get to play baseball one day? Is it in their blood? They love it?
My almost 6-year-old is obsessed with baseball right now, so I have no idea where it leads, but as long as he has fun and works hard at it and gives it all he has, that's all you can ask for from a dad, from a parent standpoint now.
It sounds like a plan. Well, Brian, that's it for us. Cam Hill grounds out to third base to end the inning. Kettleers down 3-1 after the RBI single by Mervis. Thanks so much for your time and joining us here in the booth, and enjoy the rest of your 4th of July and your stay, my friend.
Absolutely. You guys too. Thanks for having me.
All righty. Thank you. That's Brian Roberts, former MLB All-Star and son of head coach Mike Roberts. We'll be right back with the 5th inning. Kettleers down 3-1 against Falmouth on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back to Lowell Park. Unfortunately, I'm taking my seat back from Brian Roberts, but that was an awesome interview. Stand-up guy, one of my favorite people I've ever met in terms of pro baseball players. One of the more personable guys, just like his father, of course, Mike Roberts. And that was a great interview, Sam. It was great to listen to, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back in the booth some other time.
Absolutely, man. A special thanks to Brian for joining us, and always great to see him here in Cotuit. That was awesome. Some really cool stories from the bigs.
I could talk to him all day if we had a chance. I was hoping that fourth inning would carry on forever. But now the new batter leading off the fifth inning against Chris Holcomb is Zach DeLoche. Fouls one off his foot. It's 2-1. He hobbles around and he'll try and walk it off. DeLoche has the sac fly in the first inning. That was the first run for Falmouth in this ball game. They now lead 3-1 on 5 hits. Cotuit just 1 run on 4 hits. We're here in the top of the 5th, and Chris Holcomb in relief against Zach DeLoche. Of course, Holcomb relieved Sean Sullivan, the right-handed pitcher. The 2-1 from Holcomb. Fastball right down the middle, strike 2. It's 2-2. After DeLoche is the cleanup hitter Troy Quanch. He's already singled and walked in this ballgame. Holcomb trying to set down the first batter, 2-2 curveball. Got him swinging, strike 3. So Holcomb sets down the first batter he faces in DeLoche to start off the 5th inning, and he'll face Troy Quanch.
I still can't get over some of those stories that Brian just gave us. It's crazy how he made the last out at the old Yankee Stadium. That's
such a cool thing to be able to hold.
Kind of an honor, yeah.
And I like the old Yankee Stadium more than the new one, to be honest. There's a ground ball up the middle. Oviedo fields it, throws it over to first base for out number 2. Holcomb cruising here in the 5th.
Yeah, Chris Holcomb has done a nice job coming in after relieving Sullivan. He's retired 5 in a row out of the pen.
So Trey Cruz, the shortstop, he tripled in the 3rd inning. That ball that got past Parker Shavers, he wasn't able to cut it off. It rolled all the way to the wall. A run scored, and Cruz was able to get all the way to 3rd. He would later score. First pitch curveball, Holcomb. It's just 68 on that bender, but it's got so much movement to it. We've seen hitters struggle all season long trying to hit that off-speed pitch from Chris Holcomb. The 0-1 pitch to Cruz is a curveball. This time he's able to hit it. A line drive out to left field for a base hit. Robinson had some trouble with it, but keeps it in front, and Cruz will stay at first base. And there's the broadcaster's jinx one more time. Holcomb hung that one up a little bit too high, but just a single from Cruz, and it's still 2 outs, 1 runner on, and Taylor Smith, the DH, to the plate.
A hard hit ball from Cruz. He's seeing the ball well today. Now 2 for 3 with a big 2 RBI triple. That's the difference. And you talked about it, Arm. Just a curveball up in the zone for Holcomb. That's his signature pitch.
Now Holcomb comes set, takes a look over at first base, and picks off. He's back easily. Looked like the B move from Chris Holcomb, not trying to show all his cards yet. You'll see that a lot from lefty pitchers. They'll set you up with a not their best move, and then they'll throw a couple pitches and they'll come back at you with their A move, they'll call it, and sometimes they're able to steal an out. Holcomb set at the belt, a bluff from the runner on first, and he'll go back to first base. Cruz took 2 hard steps towards second base, but decided not to go. Taylor Smith has a pair of strikeouts. He struck out looking in the first, struck out swinging in the 3rd. DH looking for his first hit of the ball game with 2 outs here. Trey Cruz on first base. Another pickoff over to first base, and Cruz walks back easily. Holcomb trying to keep this ball game at 3-1. Cotuit trails here in the 5th inning at Lowell Park. Another pickoff over to first base. Cruz back. Cotuit dropped yesterday's ball game at Falmouth 6-1. already encroaching on their hit total from yesterday's ball game. They had 5, already have 4 today. Another bluff from Cruz. He takes 2 more steps off of first base and a good block from the catcher Ferry. So it's 2-0 to Taylor Smith, the DH. And Holcomb will try and battle back. Misses up and out. 3-0, way behind to Taylor Smith. Walks have been an issue for this Cotuit pitching staff. Not as much today. Of course, we talked about the 8 free passes in yesterday's ball game at Falmouth. 4 of those runs scored. It's now 3-0. Another pickoff over to first base, and Cruz is basically already on the bag. Will take 2 steps back. Cotuit 9-8-2 coming into this ball game. Falmouth 7-7-1. Falmouth a lot of ground to make up in terms of games played. 3-0 misses up. It's ball 4, so 2 runners on base with 2 outs here. Jackson Coots will try and extend this inning, the left-handed hitter from the University of Rhode Island.
Kettleers need it out. You can't leave an inning lingering here, and that was a problem last night, right? A lot of walks and just unable to make pitches when there was a 3-2 count with 2 outs, and hopefully Chris Holcomb can get this final out to flip it back over to the offense.
It seemed like they lost virtually every single full count. Falmouth was able to get the better of it, whether it was a base hit or a walk. An inside move that'll go into right field, but it's backed up by Cam Hill. We've seen a lot of inside moves from pitchers end up going into center field. Don't know if that's something Coach Roberts wants his pitchers doing a lot of, picking off to second base behind the runner. But we've seen the pitchers struggle with it a little bit so far. At least 4 throws in the last few ball games have gotten into right field, and opposing teams have been able to advance on a lot of them. So it's 2 outs now. Jackson Coots at the plate, 2 men on. First pitch curveball, a great block by Ferry, who continues to show his athleticism behind the dish. Cruz on second base. He singled with 2 outs. Then Taylor Smith just walked. Now Jackson Coots up with 2 outs, 2 runners on. The 1-0 pitch. Grounded over the first baseman Loperfido. He backtracks, fields it on a hop, flips over to Holcomb, who just gets there in time. So Holcomb able to escape there, stranding 2 runners. Will go into the bottom of the 5th. Cotuit still chasing 2. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Strickland still chugging along here for Falmouth in his 5th inning of work. He's only given up 1 run so far. In 4 innings pitched, he's just given up 4 hits as well. The one run came on the Matt Mervis single to center field that scored Parker Chavers. First pitch of the 9-hitter Oviedo is a changeup. Gets the corner, strike one. Ovi singled in the 3rd inning. He later was out on a fielder's choice, replaced by Nick Gonzales at first base. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled over the first base dugout. It's 0-2. Oviedo, of course, will be transferring to Oral Roberts from TCU. Will be manning the shortstop duties for Oral Roberts. Projected to be the starter over there.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
He had a good year this season at TCU. A lot of shuffling going on, new coaches, and he hit .291 though this past spring. He's behind 0-2. Swings through a fastball, strike 3, blew it by him. And he'll flip things back over to Nick Gonzales at the top of the order. So Gonzales was able to extend his on-base streak to 20 games. He singled to lead off the ball game, and that's 75 straight games if you count his games at New Mexico State. The guy just continues to hit and be your prototypical leadoff hitter. A fastball that tails back on the inside corner, strike one. Gonzales grounded into a fielder's choice in the 3rd. He's got the high Sox bats from the right side. White batting gloves, wiggles his bat back and forth, and crushes one out to center field. Dunn goes back. He has a beat on it and makes the grab right by the 397 sign.
Give credit to Blake Dunn. He has had a really good day defensively in center field. He's patrolled a lot of ground out there and has made a couple of nice catches. That one was a tough one right over his head, but it stayed in the ballpark.
And Strickland just continues to pitch to contact. He's trusting his outfielders, trusting his infielders, and the ball hasn't carried too well today. It's a muggy, humid day. The air's pretty thick. Not much wind. The flagpole is still out to the left of the scoreboard out there in left center. First pitch to Loperfido is grounded over to first base. A backhand by Coots. He flips it over. And a great tag. He uses his glove. Does Strickland laying out to get to first base before Loperfido could get there. It's not your stereotypical way of tagging first base. He doesn't use his foot. He lays out and tags it with his glove, the only way to beat Loperfido, and he just does. So nothing doing for Cotuit in the 5th. They go down 1-2-3. We'll go into the 6th inning. It's still 3-1 in favor of Falmouth. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the 6th at Lowell Park. Falmouth 3 and the Kettleers 1. Falmouth back at the plate here, 8-9-1. Tim TAWA, Austin Langworthy, and then Hayden Cantrelle. Chris Holcomb still on the mound. It's his 3rd inning out of the pen. He has worked 2, only allowing 1 hit and 1 walk. First hit on the ground to 3rd. Casey Schmidt fields and makes a nice play across the way to retire TAWA, 5-3. Glad you're along with us on the 4th of July. Hope you're having a great holiday. Happy birthday, America. 243 years old. Sam Niederman, Aram Layton, Jacob Cohen, our director, Josh Rothstein as well, here in the press box with you at Lowell Park. It is buzzing. Lots of good fans today. Great turnout for a little 4th of July Cape League ball. Austin Langworthy, left-handed bat, climbs in. 1 down with the bases empty. Langworthy 0 for 2 with a pair of pop-outs. 1 to right field and 1 to center field.
Both hit hard. He's had some bad luck so far this ball game.
1-0, sliced into short left center field. Adam Oviedo tries to leap for it, and that's down, so his luck turns around. Langworthy with a short little single with 1 out here in the 6th.
Baseball will always even itself out a little bit. Of course, it's still a game of failure, but that's the softest ball he's hit so far today. A little flare, and that one falls. And baseball is weird like that. You can square up 2 balls, have nothing to show for it, then just cue one, and you get a hit.
1 on with 1 out for Falmouth. Langworthy now 1 for 3, back to the top of the Falmouth order. Hayden Cantrelle 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. Cantrelle bats from the right side. Holcomb out of the stretch, and he slings it over to Loperfido to look at the runner. Middle of the infield, clinches in towards second rather, for a double play. Falmouth leans in. He's got the specs on. Closed off out of the stretch. Third base side of the rubber. Short leg lift and a pitch. Grounded up the middle. Oviedo turns it over to Gonzales. Relay onto first. Not in time. Cantrell safe.
That was a great job by Holcomb. We've talked about it in the past about how it's almost your reaction as a pitcher to go snag it. He actually started to put his glove up and pulled it back. Let the ball go up the middle so Oviedo could take it himself. If that nicked off his glove, there's a chance they wouldn't have got anybody.
That's a really good observation there. Oviedo came into the edge of the grass and kind of fielded that thing on one knee, made a short toss to Gonzales, 6-4 to retire the runner and Langworthy. Cantrell safe on the backside of it. Runner on with 2 outs, and Blake Dunn back at the plate. Holcomb another throw over to first, nothing doing. Top of the 6th, Falmouth ahead, 3-1. Dunn working on a 1 for 3 day. Singled, reached on an error, has 2 steals, and has scored a run back in the 3rd. First pitch, bunted up the first base side. A really good bunt. Holcomb fields, a throw on a spin, not in time. Blake Dunn with an infield bunt single.
Great bunt there with the left-handed pitching Holcomb. Most lefties fall over to their right on their finish. He pulled the bunt down the first base line, so Holcomb had to change all of his momentum, and by the time he got to the ball, he was already basically at first base.
A terrific bunt by Blake Dunn. He's reached now for the 3rd time in 4 plate appearances. 2 on with 2 out. Kettleers trying to get out of this thing. Holcomb looking at another batter here from the left side. It's Zach DeLoach. 0 for 2 with an RBI sac fly back in the 1st. Inside move to look at the runner at second base, and Cantrell, nothing doing. 3-1 Falmouth in the top of the 6th. Nobody holding on the runner at first. Oviedo shades at second. First pitch fastball, bounced foul past first base.
Sam, the Harbor Hawks are hot. They're up 4-2 over YD at Red Wilson Field.
How about that?
And we're going to go see the Harbor Hawks tomorrow.
Yeah, we are in the land of the Kennedys tomorrow. 6 p.m. first pitch between Cotuit and Hyannis at McKeon Park. But
don't let the Hawks get hot.
4-2 over YD in the bottom of the 4th. We'll see if that holds.
They started 0-8, right? It was 0-8.
0-8-1. Yeah, winless in their first 9. They've got 3 wins, 7 points. They're 5 points out of 4th place in the West. The West Division, a lot more spread out. Wareham a point up on Cotuit. Gatemen have 21. Kettleers have 20. The East is jam-packed. Orleans in first with 24 points. Chatham and YD both 1 point behind. There's a laser into short center field. That's down for a hit. DeLoach with a single, but a great throw by Cam Hill to home plate to hold the runner in Cantrelle at third base. Wow, nice throw by Cam Hill. Bases loaded for Falmouth with 2 outs, but the Kettleers will take it.
Can't say enough about that throw. It was a long hop to his catcher, which makes it so much easier for Ferry to field it. You see sometimes a short hop, the catcher has to try and pick it, and by the time they pick it and try and get the tag back down, of course, Cantrelle didn't even end up coming home, but made it so much easier on his catcher Ferry with a nice long hop on that throw all the way from center field.
First, second, and third, 2 outs, and Troy Clonch at the plate. An opportunity for Falmouth to maybe cash in, but maybe the defense by Kim Hill keeps him at bay and keeps this at a 2-run game. Troy Clonch, the batter from the right side. He's 1 for 2 with a single, a walk, and a run scored. Cotuit plays the infield back. Nobody holds on the runners. Holcomb to the plate. Off-speed pitch, spotted at the knees for a strike. 0-1. 3-1 Falmouth. The Commodores have out-hit the Kettleers 8-4. 2-run triple by Cruz back in the third. That's the difference. Holcomb stares in to Ferry for the sign. Now comes set. Looks back at second. Now to the plate. 0-1. Bending breaking ball. Jacked high into the air. Left field. It stays in for Robinson, who's able to make the play for out number 3. Chris Holcomb and the Kettleers get out of the bases loaded 2-out jam. Great throw by Cam Hill to keep no runs from coming in. And we are on to the bottom of the 6th inning. No runs for Falmouth on 3 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. Kettleers back at the plate. When we return, Falmouth up 3-1 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Fourth of July, we are at Lowell Park, bottom of the 6th inning. Kettleers down 3-1 against the Falmouth Commodores. And Cotuit set to bring a pinch hitter up to the plate. Normally would be Christian Robinson in the number 3 spot, but Mike Roberts brings on a switch hitter off his bench, Aubrey Major. From Xavier, 3, 4, and 5 due up with Casey Schmidt in the on-deck circle. Parker Chavers in the hole. So Major gets a chance. He's up against the lefty Samuel Strickland, who has tossed 5 innings of 1-run ball so far, only allowing 4 hits. Major, a right-handed batter from switch, and he grounds to third. Good pick over there by TAWA. Good play, out number 1. 5-3 to retire the pinch hitter in Major. Here comes Casey Schmidt, the cleanup batter, working on an 0 for 2 day. One out, bases empty. Bottom of the 6th, Kettleers down 3-1. Casey Schmidt 0 for 2. He bats from the right side, crowds the plate a little bit. Strickland to the plate. Fastball jammed up the middle of the infield, taking on one hop. Backhand pick by Cantrelle. Good throw on the way for out number 2.
That's 2 pitches, 2 outs right here for Strickland, who's been cruising through this ball game.
That's a really good play by Cantrelle to whip it over there in time, too. Strickland has been really efficient. 5 2/3 in the books now against the Kettleers, and Cotuit has not been able to figure him out. This guy, one of them, though, Parker Chavers, 1 for 2 with a single. Advanced to second on an error his last time up, and then came around to score on the Matt Mervis RBI hit. That was back in the 4th. First pitch, curveball, located just off the plate, 70 miles an hour, 1 ball and no strikes.
A high bender there. It ended up in the strike zone, but it's where it crosses, and that one crossed right about at his shoulders. It was a 12-6.
Wind up in the 1-0. Curveball this time, it's high in the zone. Just above the belt, 2-0. Chavers, a left-handed bat out of Coastal Carolina. Strickland works quickly. He fires a 2-0. Fastball, jam shot to short, taken on 1 hop over there by Cruz, who makes a nice throw for out number 3. Kettleers go down in order here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll be right back in just a moment. Falmouth leads 3-1. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Knowledge extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. It's all online at curry.edu. That's Curry College. Visit online, curry.edu. Top of the 7th inning, Kettleers down 3-1 against Falmouth Commodores. Chris Holcomb working into his 4th inning of work out of the bullpen. And he's up against the middle of the Falmouth order here. Trey Cruz, Taylor Smith, and Jackson Coots. 5, 6, and 7. Cruz, a very productive day, 2 for 3. With a true 2-run triple back in the 3rd. That's the difference. 0-1 from Holcomb. Fastball slashed foul on the right side. No balls and 2 strikes. Sam Niederman, Arm Layton, Josh Rothstein, Jacob Cohen. Hope you're having a great 4th of July. Great day for some Cape League baseball on America's birthday here at Lowell Park. An Americana scene earlier. We had the Cotuit Parade. All kinds of red, white, and blue antique cars, big floats. The team went out earlier on Main Street. It was something to see, a patriotic sight. Pop-up foul back into the parking lot. Looks like a car got hit in the splash zone. Still 0-2 on Cruz. Holcomb out of the windup, offset to the 3rd base side. 0-2. Fastball, got him swinging on the outside corner. Chris Holcomb with a strikeout to begin things here at the top of the 7th.
And how about Holcomb so far this year, the hometown kid? Him and Pasek have been great surprises. Holcomb coming into this ball game at 2.46 ERA. and 7 1/3, and he's been sharp so far today. That ERA just keeps dropping for Holcomb.
It's his third strikeout rather of the outing. He has worked 3 3/3 of scoreless baseball on the mound. Taylor Smith swings and misses at strike 1. He is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts and a walk back in the 5th. 3-1 Falmouth with 1 out and nobody on in the 7th. 0-1. Fastball fouled away on the right side. Quickly 0-2 again. Kettleers have struggled against Falmouth recently. Just 1 win in their last 7 games against the Commodores. Cotuit has been really consistent at home this season. 0-2. Swing and a miss. 69-mile-an-hour curveball in the dirt. Berry completes the throw on to first to get the drop third strike. Back-to-back strikeouts for Holcomb. He's got 4, and there are 2 down here in the 7th.
And Holcomb isn't only getting the left-handed hitters. He's using that off-speed and that changeup to get the right-handed hitters. And we've seen him mostly going against lefty-lefty matchups, but he's been sharp against both sides of the plate so far today, and that's a great sign for Coach Roberts' reliever out of the bullpen. He can use him in more situations.
He's got a lefty here in Jackson Coots. 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts and a walk. 2 down, nobody on in the 7th. 3-1 Falmouth and a curveball in the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes. The Kettleers are 7-2-1 at home this season. They've built a fort around Lowell Park. It's been tough sledding on the road, though. 2-6-1. 1-0, wave and a miss at a fastball, low 1-1. Bases clear with 2 outs. Kettleers down by 2 in the 7th. 1-1 to Coots. Fastball just off the outside corner, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Ferry back there just makes every single pitch, even if it's a ball, look close with his ability to frame and how low he gets into his squat.
2-1. Fastball low and down again. 3 balls and a strike on Coots. We are in the top of the 7th. Chris Holcomb looking to cap off his 4th inning out of the bullpen. Hasn't worked a 1-2-3 inning yet. 3-1. Fastball runs inside. That's a 2-out walk to Jackson Coots, his 2nd walk of the game, and that keeps things going for Falmouth.
And not a bad walk there from Holcomb. All of those pitches just missed by about an inch. He was careful with Coots, who's been a good hitter so far, and Tim TAWA, probably an easier guy to get out, and he continues to spot up on the corner, see if he can do it against TAWA.
TAWA from the right side, 1 for 3. And he takes off speed in the dirt, 1 ball, no strikes. Top of the 7th, runner on and 2 outs for Falmouth. Kettleers down 3-1. Holcomb closed off out of the stretch. Short step and a hard fastball up and out, 2-0. Activity in the Kettleer bullpen. Looks like either Kyle Nicholas or Matt Mervis getting loose. Can't tell if that's 43 or 47. It's Mervis, 47.
We've seen Mervis getting loose the last couple of ball games. A guy Coach Roberts has been consistently going to, and you figure this is the longest Chris Holcomb's been stretched. This has to be the end of the line this inning.
2-0, fastball low and in at the shins. Holcomb starting to lose control here. It's 3 balls and no strikes on TAWA.
And going off what I was just saying, with it being his longest outing, you wonder if he's starting to run out of gas a little bit. A guy that hasn't really pitched more than 2 innings, and here goes Coach Roberts to probably ask his pitcher the same thing.
Coach senses it, and he's going to take a little walk out to the mound to meet with his lefty out of Marston's Mills. Mervis still getting loose in the pen. Runner on first with 2 outs in the 7th. Kettleers trailing 3-1 against Falmouth. Just a mound visit for Coach Roberts along with the entire infield and Ferry the catcher. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. That's Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Well, Arm, it's been a tough day for the Kettleers again. Not much offense, 1 run on 4 hits. The pitching, not too bad out of the pen from Chris Holcomb, but it looks like he might be running out of steam. What do you think that Mike Roberts is saying to his infield right now? Obviously trying to stall for time a little bit. And what kind of path do you think the Kettleers have to get back into this game?
I think you hit the nail on the head. The main objective here is just to stall, get his reliever Mervis ready, because he figured this has to be Holcomb's last batter if he loses him. He's shown, oh, and there it is. He's actually going to go to Mervis with a 3-0 count. We've seen all year long, Coach Roberts is not afraid to bring in new pitchers in the middle of at-bats, and it's not a really ideal situation for Mervis to inherit a 3-0 count, but that'll do it for Holcomb.
Chris Holcomb comes out to an applause here for his home team, the Cotuit Kettleers. He works 3 2/3 on the 4th of July, gives up 4 hits. He walked a pair of batters. He is responsible for the runner on first base in Coots, and the right-hander Matt Mervis comes into the ball game. 4 strikeouts for Holcomb in his longest outing of the season, as Arm told you. And we'll step aside and let Mervis get loose on the mound. Kettleers down 3-1 in the 7th. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Of the 7th inning, 2 outs and a runner on for Falmouth. New pitcher on for the Kettleers, Matt Mervis, a right-hander out of Duke. He's up against the number 8 batter Tim TAWA, and he inherits a 3-ball no-strike count from Chris Holcomb. Let's see if he can get one over. The big righty comes set on the first base side of the rubber. Leg lift in the pitch, fastball, ball 4, just above the belt. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Tim TAWA, and that keeps the train moving for Falmouth. Back-to-back 2-out walks, and the number 9 batter, Austin Langworthy, at the plate.
And Langworthy's looked good so far today. Of course, only has the 1 base hit, but both of the outs have been hard fly balls and line drives to the deep outfield.
Two on with 2 out. Austin Langworthy, the left-handed bat, he's 1 for 3. Nobody holds on the runners, and Mervis will look over to second. Oviedo wasn't in the area, though.
It's got to be something that they have their pitchers doing, because we've seen nearly every single pitcher look over to second base, whether he throws it or not. Every single time there's a runner in scoring position.
First pitch home to Langworthy. Swing and a miss. Fastball clocked at 93 miles an hour. I don't think we've seen Mervis pitch too much here at home, and it's fresh to see that radar gun lighten up. He's got good velocity on his heater.
He's a guy that can run it up to 95. The fastball is his bread and butter. He'll go to the curveball here and there, but he likes to try and blow it by guys.
No balls and 1 strike. Ground ball to second. Backhand pick high out of the air by Gonzales, and a good toss over to second to get the runner for out number 3. 4-6 on a fielder's choice to cap things off. Mervis gets the final out of this inning. And we are on to the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time on the 4th of July here at Lowell Park. No runs on no hits, no errors, and a couple of base runners left for Falmouth. Kettleers with work to do, down 3-1. We'll be right back with the home half of 7. Cotuit, bottom of the 7th inning, 3-1 Falmouth. Kettleers with the middle of the order due up. Matt Mervis and Sam Ferry and Cam Hill. 6, 7, and 8. And Samuel Strickland is still on the hill for Falmouth. This is incredible. This is his 7th inning of work. And he winds up and delivers a curveball down and out. 1 ball and no strikes on Mervis. 1 for 2 today with the RBI single that scored the only run of the day for Cotuit. That was back in the 4th. 1 ball and no strikes. Strickland to wind up and the pitch. Another bending breaking ball. This time it's high, 2-0. What have you thought about the big lefty out of Sanford?
He's not a guy that's going to blow it by you, but he's just been crafty, much like we saw from Chris Holcomb. Runs it up to the mid-high 80s, maybe a tick faster than Holcomb, but he spots up that curveball. He's been putting the fastball in a spot where he can't be beat, and he's just been effective at inducing weak contact all game long.
Matt Mervis tries to start things off. Kettleers have only come up with 4 hits against Strickland today. Needs a strike. Here's a 3-0. Wayward breaking ball. Never even close. He was way up high. A 4-pitch walk for Mervis. He's reached in 2 of his 3 plate appearances, and he gives Cotuit some life. Tying run comes to the plate in Sam Ferry. Bottom 7, 3-1 in favor of Falmouth. Ferry at the plate with a runner on and nobody out. He's 0 for 2, and it looks like Falmouth is set for a mound visit. The pitching coach comes out of the first base dugout. A lefty's getting loose in the pen out in right field, and I believe they're going to come into the game immediately.
And Ferry was at 72 pitches. That's right around the cap we'll see in this Cape League. Usually don't like to stretch their pitchers out much past 70, but a great outing from Strickland, who pushed the limits even entering this 7th inning.
Falmouth points to the bullpen. It looks like a lefty's about to come in. Samuel Strickland has been excellent today. He works 6+ innings, allows 1 run on 4 hits. Not an over-empowering performance, as Aram told you. He pitched to contact a lot, ended up only with 2 strikeouts, and he only walked 2 as well. And we'll get to the new left-handed pitcher out of the pen when we return from this break. Falmouth 3 and Cotuit 1. Be right back in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball. left in the bottom of the 7th. Runner on with nobody out. It's Caleb Worcester, a lefty out of Yukon, 6 foot 180, a redshirt sophomore from Coventry, Rhode Island. Played with the Broxton Rocks of the Futures League last summer. He hangs over his front right hip, dangles the left arm, and looks in for the sign from his catcher and Troy Claunch. Sam Ferry, the batter, representing the tying run here in the bottom of the 7th. Kettleers down 3-1. Worcester a high leg lift, and he fires in a fastball way outside, 88 miles an hour, 1 ball and no strikes.
Falmouth just staying with the southpaws so far, and it's been a good recipe for them. You saw Weatherly close the door for Falmouth in the last ball game, and the Kettleers haven't been able to hit the last 3 Falmouth left-handed pitchers they've faced.
Worcester set. He looks over at the runner in Mervis. A short lead. 1-0. Fastball fouled back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ferry's due for a hit. He's 0 for 2 today. And he's 0 for 6 in his first 6 Kettleers at-bats. He's made decent contact on a couple of them. Runner on with nobody out. Bottom of the 7th. 3-1 Falmouth. 1-1. Ferry shows bunt. Doesn't lay anything down. Worcester misses with a fastball outside, 2-1. The 2-run triple by Cruz back in the 4th. That's still the difference for Falmouth. Kettleers got 1 back in the bottom of that 4th inning. Matt Mervis with an RBI single. 2-1. Ferry shows bunt again. Did he go around the plane and appeal this first? He did not. 3 balls and a strike. (3-1) Falmouth, home half of 7. Mervis off first, held on by Coots. Double play depth for the Falmouth infield. Ferry from the right side to end the count. 3 balls and 1 strike. Worcester delivers. Bunt attempt, and it's fouled right at home plate. Full count.
Like Ferry started moving before he put it down as a sacrifice here. Your job's just to put it down. You can stand in the box for 3 seconds after you get it on the ground. It doesn't really matter. You want to give yourself up. We'll see if they leave it on now with 3-2 count.
TAWA plays in at the edge of the grass at third. Still ready for that bunt if it goes down. Mervis a very short lead at first. Nobody out. Worcester set. Pauses, leg lift, 3-2. Fastball popped up, right side, drifting back into foul ground. Coots gives chase. There's a trio of them over there by the fence, and Cantrelle slid in at the last moment but wasn't able to get there. Foul ball, and Ferry stays alive.
That landed in the perfect area for all 3, both the first baseman, second baseman, and the right fielder to not be able to get it. And like you said, he just barely stays alive. We'll see if he can make the most of this second chance.
Cantrelle lost his hat right there. Need to keep a tally on that the rest of the season. It was Raj Anu that lost his hat for the Kettleers last night. Worcester gives him a minute to reset. He's got the shades on top of the hat. Cantrelle at second base. 3-1 Falmouth, bottom of the 7th. Still nobody out. Mervis aboard at first after the walk. Ferry still battling. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Worcester kicks and deals. Fastball low and away. Ball 4. Good at bat by Ferry. He's on first for the first time in his Kettleers career. And that makes it 2-on with nobody out, and Cam Hill at the plate.
And Cam Hill, one of the best bunters on this ball club. Coach Roberts loves to put on the bunt with him and probably expect him to be sacrificing right here.
He handles the bat really well from the left side. Hill 0 for 2 today. Flew out to left in the 2nd. Grounded out to 3rd back in the 4th inning. TAWA plays a little in on a step at 3rd base. Same thing with Coots at 1st. Middle infielders pitch towards 2nd. Nobody holds on the runners. Worcester looks in. Now he comes set out of the stretch. Pulses the front left leg. Ready at the shoulders. First pitch. Hill shows bunt. Pulls it back. Off speed, down and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Adam Oviedo, the number 9 batter, on deck. 2-on with nobody out for the Kettleers in the bottom of the 7th inning. Falmouth is led wire to wire, up 3-1. Worcester's 1-0. Hill thought about bunting again, but pulled it back on a hard slider outside. It's 2-0.
And sometimes we talked about it before, where when the batter squares, it throws the pitcher off sometimes. Sometimes they don't like pitching to a bat. And it throws him off, and he comes right out of the pen with the first batter trying to sacrifice. Didn't really have a chance to get into rhythm, and it seems like it's messing up Worcester a little bit on the mound as he's just trying to find the strike zone. 1.5 batters into the ballgame for him.
Ferry, the man on first, Mervis on second. Nobody out in the bottom of the 7th. 3-1 in favor of Falmouth. 2 balls and no strikes on Hill. Corners of the infield ready to creep in. The pitch, bunted right in front of home plate, picked out by Claunch, and it's called foul at the last second. Both runners were well on their way into scoring position. Troy Claunch, the catcher out of Oregon State, was able to get that one on a bounce. It was right on top of home plate, and it's a 2-1 count on Hill. Sun's starting to set down on the 4th of July here at Lowell Park. Hot, humid night in Cotuit. 3-1 in favor of Falmouth, bottom of the 7th. 2 on with nobody out. Kettleers with an opportunity to rally back into it. Corners of the infield ready to crash in again. Hill not showing bunt. Worcester looks back at second. Leg lift in the 2-1. There's the bunt up the third base side. TAWA thought about fielding it and then eventually scoops it up as it rolls into foul ground for strike 2.
Smart play by TAWA there to leave it. But the speedy Cam Hill, he would have been at first base easily. The only shot for Falmouth there was if that ball went foul, and unfortunately as it rolled off the lip of the grass, the momentum took it just to the left, our left, of the foul line.
It was rolling up the base path there. There's still a little bit of dirt in fair territory, but that allowed the ball to push over there. Good awareness by the third baseman from Stanford. Adam Oviedo is in the on-deck circle, and he did Cam Hill a favor and left his bat straight up with the barrel facing down on the middle of home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 on with nobody out. Kettleers down by 2. And Mike Roberts wants to talk with his center fielder from Kentucky, Cam Hill. What do you think he just said to him there?
I really normally have a good guess. I have no clue. It might be whether he wants him to bunt or not, obviously. Maybe he wants to put on a slash. I don't know if they have a sign for the slash. Maybe he's trying to put something on interesting here, but we'll see what he decides to do.
Claunch just came out from behind home plate to make sure he was on the same page with the lefty Worcester out of the pen. 3-1 Falmouth, bottom of the 7th. Kettleers trying to push home the potential tying runs on first and second with nobody out. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Hill. Corners ready to come in again of the infield. Hill shows bunt. Worcester set 2-2. Fastball low and out, and Hill pulled it back at the nick of time. 3-2.
Might have been asking Cam Hill how confident he was bunting with 2 strikes. You know, normally you take the bunt off with 2 strikes, but we've seen Coach Roberts comfortable with Cam Hill bunting in that situation.
Samuel Strickland worked 6+ for Falmouth, holding Cotuit at bay. But it's the lefty, Caleb Worcester, who's got to get out of this 7th inning with 2 outs and nobody aboard. 3-2 on Hill. He shows bunt again. Corners come down. The pitch. He was not able to connect. Strike 3. Snapback throw back to second. Mervis dives back in just in the nick of time. Not a bad throw from Claunch to almost get the lead runner. And Cam Hill isn't able to execute in the tough situation. Went for it all, but wasn't able to put it down.
And a 3-2 count there. Once it was full, I thought that was a good opportunity for Cam Hill to swing away. If it's not in the strike zone, you take ball 4. That pitch was right down the middle. Give your hitter a chance. Obviously, a double play is not as likely with the speed of Cam Hill. Now you're going to have a pinch hitter, Rajanu, for Oviedo, and Coach Roberts is just going for the power.
It could just take one swing, and that would give the Kettleers a lead, potentially. Rajanu was the hero back on Monday against Hyannis. Kettleers were able to overcome a blown 3-run lead, and Anu came up with a solo blast in the bottom of the 8th inning to make it a 9-8 win for Cotuit. 1 down after the strikeout of Hill, 2 on. Falmouth still leads 3-1. And Anu, the pinch hitter, a switch hitter, bats from the right side. Worcester set, high leg lift, and a fastball up and out for ball 1. Adam Oviedo wraps up his day at the plate, 1 for 2 with a strikeout. Nick Gonzales, the leadoff man, on deck. Falmouth does not hold on the runners on the infield. Double play depth for the Doors. 1-0. Fastball in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes on Anu.
Conch has looked really good back there so far, blocking balls. He's not been afraid to throw behind runners, and he's been keeping most of the runners close to the bag. Of course, Mervis almost got back-picked all the way at second base.
First and second with 1 out. Kettleers down 3-1. 2-0 on Anu. Worcester looks back, now to the plate, and a fastball is tapped right in front of home plate, foul.
Sounds like a broken bat. He might need a new piece of lumber. Actually, no, it looks like it didn't break. It just hit the edge of it.
Yep, end of the bat.
Didn't sound very good.
Smile for Anu, chatting it up with the home plate umpire, Doug Isham. Can the Kettleers pick themselves up on the 4th of July? They've got an opportunity to here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Back-to-back walks to lead off the inning. Cam Hill struck out trying to bunt with a 3-2 count. 1 down, first and second. And Worcester's ready for the 2-1. Fastball, sliced back foul. 2-2 on Anu. Falmouth looking to make it 2 for 2 against Cotuit in this home and road series. Commodores would move up above 500 with a win. Kettleers would drop back down to 500 with a loss. Cotuit trying to cap off a great day of Americana Fields here at Lowell Park with a win. 2 on with 1 out. And the 2-2. Fastball punched up into the air right side. It's back behind first base in foul ground. Coots in the sun, and he's able to work it for out number 2. No tag or advancement from either of the runners. And Anu pops out to turn things over to Nick Gonzales, the leadoff man. Well, it's the 4th of July. We have played 19 games, and the Kettleers fans know him by now. Get a little bit of a wave of applause for number 15 in the pinstripes. Gonzales 1 for 3 with a single back in the first. He has been tremendous all summer long. He's made plays left and right, but we haven't really seen him make a play in a big late-game situation. Maybe this is the time. 2 on with 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th. Falmouth leads Cotuit 3-1. Worcester the lefty against the right-handed bat. First pitch fastball, sliced away foul. No balls and 1 strike.
That was a good pitch to hit there for Gonzales. Just missed it. Right down the middle and right in the spot where we've seen him drive it in the gap.
More claps from the Cotuit fans trying to encourage on their All-American second baseman out of New Mexico State. Ferry off first, Mervis off second. Nobody holding on. Infield plays back. Worcester set, pulses the front left leg. The 0-1. Off-speed pitch, low and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Deloach shades over to the right center gap in right field. Dunn a tick over towards the left center gap. Falmouth ahead 3-1. Samuel Strickland, 6+ innings of a start. He is responsible for Mervis on second. Ferry is Worcester's runner on first. Long look in for the lefty, hunched over for the sign. One on the way. Jacked into the air, right center field, should be playable for Deloach. He jogs in, and he makes the play for out number 3. Well, it was there for the taking, but the Kettleers unable to come up with anything in the bottom of the 7th inning. Back-to-back walks, left on base. No runs on no hits, no errors, and a couple stranded. And we are on to the 8th inning of play. Falmouth leads at 3-1. We'll be right back in just a moment.
trails 3-1. It'll be the top of the order for Falmouth against Matt Mervis, who's coming out for his second inning of work. Hayden Cantrell's 1 for 4 on the game. He singled to lead off the ball game, and he fouls one just away down the third base line.
Oh, man, look out Josh Muir, our camera guy. He does awesome work. He almost got hit by that foul ball.
And Mervis on the mound has had a busy day, you can tell. He has the lone RBI single today, and his jersey is completely covered in clay because he's been diving all over. Now he tries to hang up another 0 as he misses high with a curveball. So some defensive shifting. Casey Schmidt, the third baseman, will slide over to shortstop because a Rajanu pinch hit for Adam Oviedo. As a 1-1 is a strike on the inside corner. And Richard Brereton will go up to third base. We've seen him mostly on the mound this year. He's just had his one at-bat. But whole man third base, he played a lot of infield for Emory University this season. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball just misses below the knees and outside. It's 2-2.
This is really interesting, Arm. We actually get to see Richard Brereton in the field. He's a two-way guy, noted for his prowess at the plate, has been a pitcher primarily.
A shot out into center field. Cam Hill goes back. He continues to run, but he's got a beat on it, and will make a grab a few paces in front of the 397 sign in center field.
Other thing, too, Casey Schmidt at short, we've talked about it a little bit. Killers do not have much depth at shortstop outside Adam Oviedo, and now we know the answer of who's the number 2 on that depth chart. It's Casey Schmidt.
And Schmidt's shown some comfort in throwing on the run from third base. You figure he's got to be a little rangy out there at short. We'll get a chance to see what he can do out there. As a first pitch curveball from Mervis is a called strike to Blake Dunn, who's had a great day so far. He has a pair of singles. He reached on a bunt single, an excellent bunt against Chris Holcomb. He reached on an error and later scored in the third, and he already has a pair of stolen bases on the day. He's done it all so far for Falmouth as he takes a fastball just inside. It's 1-1. On deck is Zach Deloche, the 3-hitter, and then Troy Clonch, the cleanup. 1-1 pitch. Curveball, waved at it, strike 2. 3 runs on 9 hits for Falmouth, just 1 run on 4 hits for the Kettleers, who continue to struggle at the plate. As he spoils a fastball away, and we'll do 1-2 again. 94 on the gun from Mervis there. Can run it up to the mid-90s as he grabs a rosin bag for some more grip, ready to deal the 1-2 again. Dunn chokes up on his bat. The 1-2 pitch is fouled away. We've seen Dunn do that just about every 2-strike count. Will choke up about 1.5 inches and shorten up and try and find something he can put in play. The 1-2 again. Curveball just hits his bat as he tried to check his swing, and that's a foul ball. Mervis in his last outing took a tough loss at Wareham. He pitched 3 strong innings, only gave up the 1 run. But that ended up being a 1-0 win. That's all Wareham needed behind a great combined pitching effort from the Gatemen. The 1-2 again. Lined past the shortstop Casey Schmidt for a base hit, and Dunn has his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Not a bad effort. That's the first play we get to see Casey Schmidt play defense at short. That was always going to be a base hit, whether it's Adam Oviedo or Derek Jeter out there, I think. And good poke over there in the left 5-6 hole by Blake Dunn. He has had quite the day, reaching 4 of his 5 plate appearances.
And a good swing there from Blake Dunn, and it'll turn it over to Zach Deloche. Deloche has 1 single and a sac fly RBI today. Middle of the infield playing double play. Mervis picks off over to first base to chase Dunn back, who already has a pair of stolen bases today. We'll see if we get a chance to see how Casey Schmidt can turn it up the middle with Nick Gonzales, who's shaded a little bit to his right away from double play depth, but Schmidt is more up the middle by second base. Deloche bats from the left side. The Texas A&M Aggie has been swinging a hot bat after a tough spring. First pitch misses just down and in, ball one. He only hit 256 games for the Aggies, just 4 doubles, 8 runs batted in. But he had a great summer in the Northwoods League last summer. Hit .323 and earned the Rawlings Big Stick Award as one of the top hitting outfielders. That fastball's a strike. It's 1-1. Another pickoff over to first. Dunn dives back. Coming into today, Deloche was hitting .382 in his last 10 ball games. That's 13 for 34 rather, as he fouls a 91-mile-an-hour fastball straight back. On deck, Troy Claunch, then Trey Cruz in the hole if one of them can reach base. Claunch already has a pair of singles in this ball game. Another pickoff over to first. Mervis wary about the speedy Dunn. Still 1-2 on Zach Deloche, the right fielder. Trying to stay alive against the big righty Matt Mervis. A 1-2. Curveball froze him, strike 3. And Mervis picks up a big strikeout for out number 2, and that brings up Troy Claunch, the catcher. Of course, Claunch saw limited action this season. He's a backup catcher behind the number 1 overall pick, Adley Rutschman. It's tough to see playing time when you're playing behind a guy like that. One of the best college hitters we've seen in the last 20-plus years. Right there with Buster Posey. First pitch to Claunch is fouled away over the first base grandstand. You figure he's going to see a lot more playing time this year. He only started 19 games for the Beavers.
Weren't they saying that Rutschman was walked with the bases loaded, intentional walk with the bases loaded?
He was intentionally walked with the bases loaded.
That's crazy.
Pickoff over to first. He's back easily. The only other 2 players I believe I've seen that with is, of course, Barry Bonds, and Albert Pujols had it done once.
Yep.
Not sure if I can remember anybody else that's been intentionally walked with the bases loaded. It's the highest compliment you can get in baseball, in my opinion. 0-1 pitch is fouled away again. Mervis quickly ahead 0-2.
I don't agree with that, though. I think you got to take him on and pitch to him.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 9 people in the field, and you're going to take your chances. But with the way Rutschman was hitting this year, they'd rather just face the next guy and concede the run.
That is true. I guess, like in college, the next guy behind him might not even be that good, even though it's going to be a cleanup guy or whoever to protect him.
The 0-2 just spoils away a fastball. 91 again from Mervis. Mervis stands at 6'4", 230 pounds on the mound. A big power right-handed arm and a big power left-handed bat.
Then again, in the major league conversation, if Pujols is at the plate, you got, Jim Edmonds or somebody to protect him, somebody like that.
Well, I called Nick Gonzales the machine today, but Albert Pujols is the original machine, and that was peak the machine when he was intentionally walked, and I think during that time he might have been one of the best hitters, again, that we've seen in the MLB in the last 20 years. A guy that could just do it all, hit for power, hit for batting average. Another pickoff over to first. Mervis really wants to keep Dunn close.
Well, he's been all over the place today, Dunn, with a couple of steals.
Mervis just needs one more strike. Keeps checking on Dunn with a good chance to steal here. 0-2. Long set from Mervis. He finally kicks and deals. A little flare that should be playable for Loperfido, the first baseman. Ranges over and makes the grab, so Mervis able to strand Dunn on 1 hit, 1 left on, no runs to show for it. We'll go into the bottom of the 8th. The Kettleers just have 6 outs to spare, chasing 2 runs. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. to Lowell Park on this beautiful 4th of July. The Kettleers still trail 3-1 here in the bottom of the 8th. Joey Loperfido will lead things off. He's the 2-hitter. He walked in the first. He's 0 for 2 after that. First pitch to Loperfido. He swings and grounds it over to the second baseman, Cantrelle, who throws it on over and gets Loperfido out by about a step. That brings up Aubrey Major, who came in for Christian Robinson. He swung at the first pitch he saw in the 6th inning. Grounded out to third. The switch hitter bats from the right side against the southpaw. Worcester comes set right at the chest, kicks and deals. Inside fastball, strike one. Worcester, the Yukon Huskies, a redshirt sophomore, had a really good year at Yukon, all out of the bullpen. 36 appearances, struck out 40 in 47 innings, a 2.66 earned run average. The 0-1's chopped over to third base. Coming in is TAWA. He throws on the run and just gets a hustling Aubrey Major, who disagrees with the call, but it got him by about a half a step.
Wow, that was a tough play, and credit TAWA for keeping his cool, knowing that Major was getting up the line in a hurry. Really close. I'm not sure if he was safe or out, but an emphatic call by the umpire over there for out number 2.
Major just coming back from a little leg injury. We'll hope he's okay after busting it down the line. That brings up Casey Schmidt, now playing shortstop for the first time this season. As he slides over after a Rajanu pinch hit for Adam Oviedo. Schmidt's 0 for 3. The first pitch, grounded out to the shortstop Cruz. He comes in, fields it on the run, throws it. And another 1-2-3 inning for the Kettleers will go into the top of the 9th. Score still at 3-1. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll try and finish things out here on the defensive side for Cotuit. He's out for his 3rd inning of work. He's yet to give up a run. He's looked solid in relief of Chris Holcomb. He gets the middle of the Falmouth order. It's Trey Cruz, Taylor Smith, and Jackson Coots. The first pitch to Cruz, tails away, ball 1. Cruz, of course, had that triple in the 3rd inning that got past Shavers, who tried to cut it off. He had to chase it all the way to the wall, and Cruz had time to burn all the way to third base. He also singled in the 5th. Fouls one straight back. 1-1. Cruz DH'd yesterday, playing shortstop today. The 1-1 pitch. This is down, ball 2. Defense is a little bit of an issue for Cruz. He swings a good bat, but committed 15 errors this past spring at Rice and just a .910 fielding percentage as he lines one out to center field. Coming in is Cam Hill, who slides, not able to make the grab as it nicks off his glove.
Good effort by Cam Hill. Tried to slide feet first for that one. And maybe even overslid it. Just didn't have the hand-eye coordination to get it into the webbing of his mitt. Instead, it went off the edge of his mitt. And it's the 11th hit of the day for Falmouth. The Commodores have posted up double-digit hits for the second consecutive night against Cotuit. They've only got 9 runs in total to show for it, and 3 of them coming today, but they might be in good shape to get some insurance with the leadoff batter aboard.
And they have more hits today than Cotuit has had in the last 2 ball games combined. It's been a struggle for the Kettleers. So Brereton plays in on the grass at third base, anticipating the bunt from Taylor Smith, who's actually pinch hit for. The pinch hitter is Austin Maisel, the outfielder. He started yesterday's ball game in left field. Maisel from Holy Cross. And the first pitch looks like it hit him. We'll see if they call it a foul ball or a hit by pitch. It looks like it's going to be called a foul ball. In yesterday's ball game, Maisel was 2 for 3. He had a double in the 6th inning and a single in the 7th. Of course, you can't forget that double, Sam, that he tried to extend into a triple, put the brakes on halfway, ended up getting into a pickle, and that was one of the few well-executed plays on defense by Cotuit to get Maisel out before he could get to third. He squares to bunt 0-1. He gets it down this time. Mervis fields it, throws over to first, but Maisel does his job, getting Cruz over to second base. Still 1 out only in the 9th inning.
Everybody's really executed well for Falmouth today. Even just a pinch hitter and Maisel laying down a bunt there. Commodores have looked really crisp, but Jeff Trundy has always had this team ready for a second act and third act finish, and their first act has been pretty lackluster and a slow start, but they're looking like they're returning to form here, and they've got a decent little offense.
Third in the league in batting averages, Falmouth continues to rise. They'll ascend a little bit more after this game, continue to close ground on the first place Wareham. So Jackson Coots tries to plate the runner on second base, who was advanced on the bunt by the pinch hitter Maisel. First pitch fastball, strike 1. Coots 6 for his last 30. That's good for a 300 batting average in his last 10 ball games. Trey Cruz has 10 runs batted in his last 10 games. Now looking to score a run here to give Falmouth a little bit more cushion going into the bottom of the 9th.
He's a good ball player. I like him a lot. Came off a really good season from Rice. That's a really good baseball program down there in Houston. He has sparked his team today. It's still his 2-run triple that gives him the lead.
Now Coots had a good season at URI as he swings through a changeup 1-2, hit over 300 as well. He's hitting .250 this season so far with runners in scoring position. He's behind 1-2. The runner in scoring position, Cruz, just 1 out. Nick Gonzales shaded over to his left a little bit for the left-handed hitter. Fouls a high fastball straight back, 96. That's the hardest we've seen from Matt Mervis so far today.
And how about that? This is a couple innings into his outing, too. Let's see if he can go to something off-speed here. Dial it back on Coots and get him out in front to finish off this at-bat.
Picked up the second strike on a changeup. He just went to the fastball high. We'll see what he goes back to here, 1-2. Cruz a modest lead off a second. Casey Schmidt holding him on. The 1-2. Fastball lifted out into center field. Back is Cam Hill. He gets behind it and makes the grab. Tagging is Cruz. He'll come into third, but that's the second out of the inning. So the Kettleers will trade the second out of the inning for the advanced base. And now it'll take a base hit to score the 4th run of the ballgame for Falmouth.
Well, this is a big situation if you're the Kettleers. You want to keep it at a 3-1 deficit. That's not terribly hard to overcome. Got the middle part of the order coming up. A part of the order that's produced today, Chavers, Mervis, and Ferry. That 5, 6, 7 slot due up in the bottom of the ninth for the Kettleers.
So Tim TAWA was tasked with the chance to add a run, and he's able to as he short hops Nick Gonzales, and it gets by him for, we'll see what they score it as. It might be an error, but nonetheless, that'll score the 4th run of the ball game for Falmouth.
They scored as a hit, 12th hit of the day for Falmouth. That was a hard play for Gonzales. It was sharply hit to him, a curving one-hopper, and he did his best to try and get it on a backhand pick, but we've seen him make a couple of really good plays recently. Not there that time, and Falmouth hits the ball hard and results in them extending their lead to 3.
And a hard hit ball off the bat of Tim TAWA there. Tough play for Nick Gonzales. First pitch changeup misses low, and Matt Mervis has had a little bit of bad luck lately. The only 2 runs he's given up, we saw a couple borderline hits in the Wareham game, and now today, a ball that could have been caught by Cam Hill in center, and then a play that could have been made by Nick Gonzales at second. Both were ruled hits, but both that could have been outs, and Mervis could easily have no run surrendered so far this season. But Mervis will try and limit the damage and keep it at 4-1. Tim TAWA always a threat to run at first base, and he's on the move. The throw from Ferry is not in time. Actually, it is. They'll call him out. A high tag from Casey Schmidt, and Tim TAWA doesn't like it. I was premature on the call there, but a nice throw by Sam Ferry for the 3rd out of the inning, and we'll go into the bottom of the 9th. The Kettleers chasing 3. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Love it. It's a great one.
So Falmouth brings in their closer. It's Thomas Gerard. Didn't get a chance to see him last night because Falmouth was up 6-1. The Kettleers have just 4 hits, no extra base hits. And that hasn't been a good recipe so far for the Kettleers this season. They're 0-9-1 when they're yet to record 3 extra base hits in a ball game, and so far they're looking for their first extra base hit.
They need the power. They haven't had it today, just the 1 run on 4 hits. But the good news is it was this part of the lineup that produced that run arm. The RBI single by Matt Mervis, who's due up on deck in this inning. Parker Chavers led off that 4th inning getting on base. And Cotuit has not been able to muster up anything since, but you give credit to this bullpen. Chris Holcomb, 3 2/3 scoreless. Matt Mervis came on, finished out the rest of this ball game, and only gave up the 1 hit and the 1 run in the last inning that made it a 3-run game. But, hey, it could be a lot worse. Let's see if the Kettleers can spark a little 4th of July magic.
And Thomas Gerard from Duke. He's a Blue Devil. He was the closer. He picked up 9 saves and a 2.33 ERA in 28 appearances. Struck out 61 in just 46 1/3 innings. Opponents hit just 176 against him. He spins a changeup first pitch to Shavers, got him to wave at it, strike 1.
Interested to see the little Duke versus Duke matchup that we'll get here in the second at-bat of this inning.
The 0-1 curveball backdoors him, strike two. Gerard locked in through his first two pitches. The Shavers tries to stay alive here. He's behind 0-2 quickly against the closer Thomas Gerard. The 0-2 pitch. He checks his swing at a changeup. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the home plate umpire Doug Isham.
That was nasty from Thomas Gerard there. A lot of change up there in that at bat, and he fooled Shavers. It's a good start for him. He knows how to get a save. Got 9 saves for Duke this past spring, and now he goes up against his Blue Devil teammate in Mervis.
A battle of the Blue Devils here. Mervis was good on the mound, pitched 3 strong innings. Now he tries to do it at the plate. Responsible for the lone run for the Kettleers in this game. First pitch to Mervis misses high, 1-0. You got to figure Mervis knows what Thomas Gerard has in his arsenal. But Gerard's stuff is so good it might not even matter. The 1-0 to Mervis. Fastball misses down and away, 2-0. Mervis winning the battle so far. Mervis 1 for 2 with the RBI single and a walk. Infield plays Mervis straight up, the big left-handed hitter. Outfield as well. Gerard behind 2-0. The pitch. Curveball. Bends inside but just gets the corner. It's 2-1. So Gerard, one of 3 Blue Devils on the field right now. Of course, Loperfido batted in the 8th inning. He's also a Duke Blue Devil. Mervis, of course, at the plate. And Gerard on the mound as he spins another curveball. This time he backdoors him. And he fights back to 2-2. So Mervis yet to pull the trigger so far through 4 pitches. We'll see what he does 2-2. Gerard works exclusively out of the stretch. Comes set right at the belt, ready to deal the 2-2 pitch. A line drive off the bat of Mervis. It short hops the first baseman who keeps it in front. Takes it unassisted for out number 2.
Jackson Coots just did like a karate kick or something there to field that ball. But, hey, whatever you got to do to get in front of it. Nice concentration to get the second out of the inning. And unfortunately, Matt Mervis can't get the bragging rights over Thomas Gerard.
And a nice little exchange between Gerard and Mervis there. Mervis took a few hard steps towards Gerard, who was walking towards him. You could see them both smiling. At least he didn't strike him out in Mervis's favor. It's kind of a wash there. You could say he got a good piece of it. But Gerard wins the battle. First pitch changeup misses low to Sam Ferry. Ferry's still looking for his first hit in a Kettleers uniform in his second start, his 3rd appearance. His best swing came in his first at-bat. He crushed one to deep center field. But the ball has not been carrying much today. Not much wind and a humid day as the flagpole stands still to the left of the scoreboard. As he chops a foul ball down the third base line, it's 1-1. Gerard with the blue and white Duke Blue Devil cleats. It's a clash with the maroon socks for Falmouth and the black and maroon jersey. The 1-1 to Sam Ferry. Takes a curveball he tried to spin out of the way of, but it bent back into the strike zone for strike 2. And we've seen every hitter so far against Gerard just looking uncomfortable. He's got really good stuff. We talked about the 176 opponent batting average. And averaging nearly a strikeout in 3/4 per inning. And he strikes out Ferry for the last out of the ball game. Gerard picks up the save. And Falmouth picks up back-to-back wins against the Kettleers. Just 8 hits in their 2 ball games against Falmouth. Falmouth has 12 hits in just today's game, and they take this one 4-1. So they pick up an important 2 points to climb within 3 points of the Kettleers in the West Division, and they're still just trailing 4 games to play. Of course, they've had more cancellations than the Kettleers, so they got a lot of ground to make up, and they're in a pretty good spot, Sam.
Yeah, Falmouth is looking pretty good. Credit them for 2 well-played games. They came out, got enough runs, and got a lot of hits on the Kettleers and took advantage of Cotuit mistakes. And that results in a little 2-game home-and-home sweep. not the way that you wanted to see the Kettleers come out and play the last couple of games. And next thing that you know, they're back down to 500 at 9-9-2. But an opportunity to clean things up this weekend with Hyannis on the road tomorrow and then Chatham at home on Saturday. But Mike Roberts has got to bring his team back into square one here and get back to the basics and the fundamentals, because unfortunately execution just was not there over these last 2 games.
So Falmouth stays hot, as you mentioned, Sam. Cotuit will drop to 9-9-2. Falmouth goes over 500. They'll be 8-7-1 now as they continue to climb in the standings. It's a tough loss for Cotuit, back-to-back losses, just 1 extra base hit in their 2 games against Falmouth. That was the Joey Loperfido home run in the 2nd inning of yesterday's ball game. It's been tough for the Cotuit offense in the last few games. That's been really hot and cold. They still lead the league in long balls, but we talked about how hard it is for them to string together hits. We thought that tide might be turning when they had 14 against Bourne here at Lowell Park, but since then it's been a tough go for the Kettleers offense, and they'll drop another one here against Falmouth. It was a start from Sean Sullivan, who went 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and struck out 4. Chris Holcomb was good in relief, going 3 1/3 before he was ultimately yanked. And Matt Mervis was also great, pitching the last 3+ innings of the ball game. So the silver lining for the Kettleers was the relievers were much better than last game, when the bullpen walked 8 and gave up 9 free passes. Today the bullpen looked a lot better, but Sean Sullivan didn't have his best stuff today.
Yeah, and it was just Falmouth coming up with the hits, too. You give a lot of credit to Trey Cruz, who finished the day at the plate 3 for 5 with a 2 RBI triple that proved to be the game-winning hit. Kettleers just didn't have the offense to back up Sully either today. Just didn't come up with that clutch hit. Falmouth did, and that's basically how she wrote it here in this one.
And the loss will go to Sean Sullivan. The win to Samuel Strickland. He went 6+ innings. He actually came out for the 7th. Started to run out of gas a little bit, and Coach Trundy eventually decided to go to his bullpen, but 6+, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts. What impressed you the most about Strickland?
I like Strickland a lot. He came with a lot of off-speed stuff, not too much velocity, and he only struck out 2 guys, but he just really trusted his defense, and nobody in the Cotuit lineup was able to barrel up the ball against him. Just pitched with a lot of confidence and control, and I think he's an option for Falmouth the rest of the way. Definitely his best start of the season, and for him to work deep into this game and put them right on schedule. They went to the setup out of the pen and then got to Gerard, the closer, who was just untouchable in the 9th.
And Nick Gonzales is able to extend his on-base streak to 20 to start this Cape League season, and 75 across his spring through to the summer. So there's a little silver lining there, as we still have a talking point to run into the next ball game. And they'll be at Hyannis tomorrow, a chance to bounce back against a last-place team that they beat here at Lowell Park in a roller coaster. They led 8-3 at one point, squandered the lead. It was 8-8, and you mentioned earlier, Rajanu was the hero with just his 2nd hit in his last 30 at-bats at the time, hit a solo shot, and that run was enough as they closed the door and won 9-8. So Hyannis will be a big chance to bounce back. Then we're back at home July 6th on Saturday, 5 o'clock against Chatham. Of course, you can listen to us on Mixlr tomorrow, and on Saturday we'll be coming at you from YouTube or Mixlr. So thank you for joining us today. Sam, it was a tough one, but it was a good day from the beginning. 4th of July parade at 11. We got to do the hitting competition, a lot of fun and games here. I got to hold Coach Roberts' World Series ring from 2016 with the Cubs.
You didn't run off with it, right?
I got to guard that with my life. I gave it back to him and let people try it on. It was really gracious of him to trust me with his ring and let other people try it on and check it out. It's an opportunity not very many people can say they had, and it weighs about 10 pounds. It's 108 diamonds for the 108 years it took to win World Series between 1908 and 2016. A really crazy story, of course, a curse of the Billy Goat. But a great day. The players had a lot of fun until this ball game. Everything went well until this loss to Falmouth. But thank you for joining us on this 4th of July. We hope you had a great 4th of July. Thank you for spending it with us. We hope you have a great 4th of July weekend and enjoy it all the way through. And we'll be playing just about every day until July 22nd, weather permitting. Sam, any last thoughts?
Well, my friend, it was an honor to be here in the booth with you and spend the holiday with you. It's so fun to see you experience your first Kettleers 4th of July. And a big shout out to all our active military personnel and our veterans who have served in our armed forces. Thank you for your service. And without those who sacrifice and make the ultimate sacrifice, we wouldn't have the freedom that we celebrate today. So God bless America, and God bless the Cotuit Kettleers, and hopefully get back into the win column tomorrow.
Second what Sam said, thank you for your service and hope you enjoyed this great day. For Sam Niederman, I'm Aram Layton. Thank you for spending it with us. We'll be back from Mixlr tomorrow and back on YouTube on Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Have a nice weekend.